From the NewsTalkSTL Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs towards the upper 80s, an increase in our humidity. A few isolated showers and storms possible later on this afternoon, this evening. For the most part, a lot of us remaining dry into Saturday, 90 degrees, partly sunny skies. It feels like temperature close to 100 degrees. Then into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, continue to remain into the triple digits for the feels like temperatures. Partly sunny skies into Sunday, maybe a spot shower or two possible. For the most part, dry. Monday, going to be mostly sunny. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
All the cool people are listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewsTalkSTL. So, congratulations.
You know, if there's ever a week that we really need a fun Flashback Friday, probably this one, especially after that drubbing that we conservatives took on Tuesday's election. So I kind of love Jerome's pick for a theme this week. What are those comeback songs? What are those fight songs that we had from the 80s? And I can think of a bunch of them right off the top of my head. And I'm curious as to whether you thought of the same ones I did. I guess we'll find out throughout the morning here. Good morning. Happy Friday to you. So instead of just lamenting what happened in Tuesday's elections, let's talk about what's ahead. Because one of the things that could happen is those big red kind of conservative got priorities that we've been pushing for years. Could those now be in danger after an 80% to 20% drubbing of amendments 4 and 5? Well, I don't know. Senator Nick Schroer is running for leadership in the Missouri Senate. He wants to be one of those people who really has a strong hand in deciding which bills move forward and which don't in the next legislative session. And so we talked to him on Thursday's show, and I just bluntly asked the question, is this going to have a chilling effect on the conservative, bold ideas that we've been pushing for the last few years? Well, here's Nick's take on that.
Where do we go from here? Or anywhere? Do we go anywhere from here regarding a couple of these key legislative issues that conservatives have been pushing for a while now? We're joined by State Senator Nick Schroer. Nick, let me start with, let's see here. Do we start with taxes or do we start with initiative petition reform? Because I don't want to rehash the election on Tuesday. We got beat bad. 4 out of 5 voters did not like what was on the ballot. And so, you got to look at what was said and respect it and then say, where do we go from here? But that doesn't mean that we don't have the goals of lowering the tax burden and making Missouri more profitable, prosperous. So let's start with the tax issue here. Republicans have been pulling for tax cuts for a long time. Voters said no to the Amendment 5 plan. What, if any, effect do you think this is going to have on the debate in the legislature come 2027? What I'm worried about are lawmakers being a little gun shy and being more timid about trying to pursue better economic policy.
Well, I think the Democrats are going to use this to their advantage by saying, rather than going into the details of it, where I've talked to a lot of constituents where they weren't necessarily opposed to zeroing out the income tax. They were more opposed to the Nancy Pelosi of, we don't know what method you guys are going to use. We don't know what's on the table. We don't know what's going to be raised, what you guys are going to apply a tax to. So I think if we're sincere about this, which the Democrats are not, then we will keep that in mind. But the Democrats are going to say, look, the people voted. They don't want any income tax cuts whatsoever. Well, that's just not true. Governor Kehoe campaigned on this. I campaigned on it. So many of my colleagues in the Missouri House and the Senate campaigned not only on just the income tax, but getting rid of taxation altogether. I regularly say, and you guys hear me say it all the time, taxation is theft, whether it's income tax, tax on your work, or your tax on your property, your personal property taxes, your real property taxes. So real tax reform absolutely needs to happen. I've talked to a lot of people, even on Stand and Fight. We've been talking about this thing for months because we saw the wave that was coming, that Amendment 5 wasn't going to pass. Heck, you and I have had so many offline conversations about statistics and the likelihood of this not passing. Where do we go from here? There's a plan B. And the plan B is something that I've been filing for a very long time. In the special session for that atrocious stadium deal, the subsidy deal, we got really close with the Democrats. And I know that there's an appetite, even on their side, to use the existing framework that we have, statutory framework, which will take us to, right now, it'll only take us to 4.5. So we've only got, a fraction of a percentage left to go. And then it's stuck right there. So if we remove that floor and go to a flat 4% tax, this is going to be something that I'm proposing, like I have the past couple of years, go to a flat 4. look at a lot of these triggers for revenue growth coming in, which we already have in place. We've had it in place for a couple of years now. It works. The more revenue that comes in, you tick off a percentage of that income tax, and I say we kind of expand on that, and it could go a lot faster if we pass some governmental restraints and hurdles on those video lottery terminals and certain things like that. So I think that's where we go on the income taxes. We look at the current statutory framework that we have and expand on that, remove the floor, and have a path to zero.
Okay, so we could get to zero without a constitutional amendment. Am I hearing you right?
Yeah, but the only thing up here is how quick. It's taken us several years just to take percentage points, going, what was it, 6% down to 4.7%. So it's going to take some time, but if we jump to a flat 4 automatically, that's going to incentivize more growth, where people start looking at the state of Missouri and say, okay, you're not to zero yet, but you got a path. And that's, what really matters. A lot of these states around us haven't gotten to zero yet, but they're on the pathway to do so. Conversations without going into the Constitution. And the reason why we did that, a lot of people kept asking me, why are we going into the Constitution? Well, because there's an appetite from the left that it's a changing party. Not the party of tax cuts and pro-gun and, pro-worker anymore. It's the party of pro-woke, transgenders, men and women's locker rooms. I mean, you just look at the WNBA. They're not talking about these stellar athletes. They're talking about one who's standing up saying, yeah, I don't think biological men should be here. But, the left previously was standing up and joining people and cutting the income tax in other states. Now you look at our West Coast, where the new liberals coming in, the new Democrats that are regressive, not progressive, are actually trying to enact income taxes. So that was the reason we were trying to put it in the Constitution, is that if for whatever reason in 5, 10, 15 years, if the political pendulum swings back and Democrats take control again, they can't just with, a week's notice enact an income tax once again. They would have to go back to the people.
Okay, so Nick, I mean, obviously we know that Democrats I can't think of a single Democrat in the Missouri legislature who's going to be on board with reducing income taxes. I just can't think of one. I think you're right. I'm more worried about the Republicans who get cold feet when they look at an 80-20 vote. What are the discussions? I'm sure there are some kind of discussions going on informally within the caucus. Is there any concern that there are wishy-washy Republicans who may say, you know what, maybe we don't need to deal with tax reform next year. Let's let everybody cool off. Let's do it later. Let's just stick with the status quo because, we're under a lot of competition from a lot of different states around us.
Yeah, and I think you're always going to have that, especially in today's political climate. You're going to have some people that want to tuck tail for the next election. They're afraid, somebody's going to run against me if I do the things that I promised to do, which is abide by the party platform, which says reduce, taxation in terms of the income tax. And look, we've got a great governor who's been spearheading this effort as well. He campaigned on it, and he's trying to fulfill that promise of finding a pathway to zero. So I think with the right leadership team, and I am running to become the next floor leader in the Missouri Senate to try and spearhead this, we can do it the right way. We can do it the way that Missourians have said, we're fine with reducing the income tax, but we don't necessarily like Amendment 5, where it was open-ended. We had a lot of questions that remained unanswered, and we basically had to trust the politicians that, look, you're talking to somebody who doesn't like politicians, and I don't trust politicians, so I get that sentiment. So if you have something that's set statutorily, set with certain triggers, and if we can expand on that and maybe incentivize more growth in the state of Missouri by moving to a flat 4, we could get to zero in the next 8 to 15 years if we go that route.
Okay, we're visiting with Nick Schroer, state senator. You can hear him every weekend here on Stand and Fight on NewsTalkSTL. Okay, last couple minutes, 2-3 minutes we've got left here, Nick. Let's talk initiative petition form. I don't know how many times you and I have had a conversation, both on the air and off the air, regarding initiative petition reform and why it's so crucial and why we have to do this to protect the state. So we were frustrated for 3 years in a row or something like that. Grassroots are frustrated with Republicans not getting it to the finish line. You go back to the Caleb Brown era and all this kind of stuff. Well, now the legislature puts it on the ballot, which I thought was an incredibly modest, watered down proposal, but better than what we have. I think we should have it even higher. And it was thumped 80 to 20%. Does this go the way of right to work and just not come back and Republicans say, hey, 80 to 20, that's what the voters said, we're not going to mess with it anymore? Or will there be a conversation on initiative petition reform again, because, 80 to 20, I don't like the vote, but 80 to 20 is significant. And I think people, they bought the lies, they bought the fear-mongering, but I'm not convinced that they were confused about what they were voting on.
Yeah, I think it's two things. One, it's another approach that the voters didn't like that approach. I heard time and time again, hey, this threshold is a little bit too high. If the pendulum swings back and, they pass something that we don't like, well, and I understand their sentiment, and I disagree with their assessment because there is the statutory route. There's other mechanisms that you could use. But the one thing that I saw in all of the comment sections of Republican voters or from Republican voters across Missouri was that, hey, we still want initiative petition reform, but just not this approach. So, yeah, you're still going to have the fear mongering. You're still going to have, well, the voters already spoke on this, so we should never touch it again. No, that's false, because we have more amendments coming, more ballot initiatives coming in November, and we're already seeing out-of-state millionaires. Michael Bloomberg pouring in millions and millions of dollars to try and change our Constitution, or at least allow for abortion on demand and trained surgeries for kids without parental consent. So I still think that the sentiment is there. We're going to have to look at some other options, and there are about 15 other options. Is it rating the passage threshold to 58%, 62%, like other states have done, but other states it's actually failed there? Or do we do a hybrid of what we tried, rather than passing in all of the congressional districts? You have to pass in 6 of 8 of them. Well, we'll see. And I think we take public hearings on this. I think we have to do some town halls. But here's the key for conservatives: educate, get off your ass. Don't be so quiet that you don't want to talk about politics or religion at the tea parties or at the church groups. You have to, because the other side is flooding the zone with lie after lie after lie. So it's incumbent upon us. The Freedom Caucus is doing this currently. We're going to roll out some things once we get back in session, where we're doing educational sessions on bills that are coming up, because the other side is playing Chicken Little. The sky is falling. Grandma's going to die if we pass this bill, and that's just not the case. But conservatives are being conservative with the use of their voice, and I'm challenging them: speak loudly and carry a big barbed wire baseball bat.
All right, Nick, I'm going to go just maybe a minute or so over there. For the most part, not a lot of upsets around the elections, except one of the key senators, one of the more conservatives, Curtis Trent, upset by somebody that a lot of people are accusing of, you talk about Rhino, we're talking about like full-on anti-conservative in disguise in Lori Rook. Could this throw a monkey wrench into things like school choice expansion in Missouri? Because she's really anti-school choice in particular.
Yeah, we'll see. I've seen a lot of these, like Bill Hardwick, great friend of mine. They threw the book at him, just like they did when I ran back in 2022. All the lies about Bill Hardwick, all the lies about a lot of my friends that I've served with. And I'm not sure if that's going to be the case with some of the senators, Lori Rook included. I've heard the rumors. I haven't had a chance to talk to her about her plan and my priorities. And everybody knows that my priority, on top of cutting taxes in all way, shape, and form, is school choice, universal school choice, empowering parents to do what's best for their kids, using their pocketbooks and not funding the government schools if they're not going there, but funding whatever educational choice that they deem as fit for their kids. So we'll see. I do know that the people spoke loud and clear, and usually you don't knock off an incumbent. Jill Carter did it a couple years ago down in Joplin, and Bill White's wife ran against her, and she soundly won. So we'll see. We've got a bunch of new senators coming in. I look forward to meeting individually with each and every one of them and going over both of our priorities, mine and theirs.
All right, State Senator Nick Schroer, obviously stand and fight, probably some election recap and analysis this weekend, I would think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Nick,
absolutely. And don't forget about State Freedom Caucus Unfiltered, because we have Denny Hoskins, who made an incredible announcement on 2 of these initiatives funded by out-of-state billionaires, and he calls them liberal sugar daddy. So you're not going to want to miss that one as well, right after Stand and Fight.
All right, thanks, Nick. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, 314-912-1019. As always, that is how to get involved in the program here. Don't forget, we've got Flashback Friday throughout the morning. I'm looking forward to hearing the songs that you picked out here for Flashback Friday on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
I listen to News Talk STL on the app driving to work.
Download the News Talk STL app.
You got to get the News Talk STL app.
Love the app. Can listen anywhere in St. Louis.
And listen anytime. News Talk STL right on my phone. Anywhere. JC's Wayback Machine.
He's played the president's chief of staff, and a couple of his sons have been in lots of movies and TV shows. Martin Sheen is this week's A-List Interview of the Week. Plus, you'll hear Tom Petty's demo for Into the Great Wide Open and some acoustic stuff from Jeff Lynne. All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9 on News Talk STL.
If you love your pet, which I know you do, then they deserve the excellent treatment and care they'll receive at Pacific Animal Hospital in Pacific, Missouri. A full-service veterinarian facility. Originally built and grown by my dad, Dr. Bill Jones, a new generation of wonderful veterinarians and staff at Pacific continue to provide outstanding medical, surgical, dental, boarding, and grooming services for your favorite furry friends. Our family entrusts the care of our pets only to the experienced docs and staff at Pacific Animal Hospital. You should too. Call them today, 636-257-2100, 24/7 at PacificVets.com, PacificVets.com.
Summer's here, and so is the freshest produce in town. At Anthony's Produce, we specialize in locally grown fruits and vegetables, straight from the farm to your table. Homegrown tomatoes, sweet corn, juicy cantaloupe, watermelon, and peaches, just to name a few. Plus, thousands of locally made products you won't find anywhere else. Need a fruit or vegetable tray for your next gathering? We've got you covered. Anthony's Produce on Jungerman Road or at anthonysproduce.com. Open 7 days a week.
A Disney cruise is no ordinary vacation. It's an adventure, a fairy tale, a dream. Step aboard and discover where favorite Disney characters meet fun for the whole family, where total rest and relaxation meet the ultimate escape and excitement, where a dream vacation meets a magical cruise. Only on Disney Cruise Line, where magic meets the sea.
Magic Expeditions will make planning your Disney cruise easy. Reach out at magicexpeditions.com.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with this free call. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I'm not going to go back over all the election results this past week. I mean, the dust is settled. We'll either learn the lessons from them or we're not going to learn the lessons from them. But there was really one interesting tidbit that I saw at both local level and also at the statewide level.
Oh, what's that?
Well, Kurt Bahr is the director of elections in St. Charles County, and he was just handily reelected. I mean, again, I'm sure there's a Democrat in the general, but it doesn't really matter in the St. Charles County. And by the way, Kurt's going to be with us at 6:35. He posted something on Tuesday that pointed out that there was a marked increase in the number of nonpartisan ballots taken. Almost 1 in 10 ballots taken in St. Charles County were nonpartisan. And also I saw a story on MissouriNet that Secretary of State Denny Hoskins said that there was, he didn't say record, and they didn't list the exact numbers or percentages, but they said there was a drastic increase in the number of people who took nonpartisan ballots. And apparently in other parts of the state, not around here, Jackson County, Kansas City, that area, that they were rushing more nonpartisan ballots to certain polling locations because so many people clearly wanted to vote on the amendments, but didn't want to take a particular party's ballot.
Partisanship, I guess that's the word, is actually at a pretty much all-time low. I think it's somewhere around 45% of people right now are registering as independents, mostly a lot of new-time voters, but also both the Democrats and the Republican Party are seeing dwindling retention of the registered voter base.
I think that's a really, really interesting trend. I mean, I'm trying to do just like the poli-sci look at it because, I get it. I mean, I really get it. But I think it's really, really interesting. I'm curious as to why people think that that's happening.
Because right now, at least, again, I'm for the millennial end of things. A lot of us feel like voting Democrat or registering and sticking with Democrats or Republicans feels like, would you rather get slapped with the front of the hand or the back of the hand? I mean,
that's a good way to put it.
It doesn't really feel like, we showed up, we did what we had to do to get a lot of these the Republicans back in power, and it didn't really feel like they did anything that they said they were going to do to follow through. Okay,
so I want to dig into this more at 620. I think it's a really interesting. Is it like the dominant thing at the moment? No, but it's getting bigger.
Yeah, if you look at the trend, I mean, the Democrats are losing actually more of their registered voters, but the Republican registered voters is pretty darn close down there. And it seems like there's just a general cultural attitude, not just in Missouri, but all over the nation, to get away from the two-party system and to see if there is any way at all to have some sort of third way out of here. So 2 election officials see enough of movement on this to go, we're going to mention this in like statements. Like we're going to put out there are more people taking numbers. So 620, and I'll put the question out now. Is anybody out there done with the parties and just doing the nonpartisan thing, or do you consider yourself independent and you used to be a Republican or Democrat? Let me know why. I'm just kind of curious. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I'm just really curious about that. All right, 5:55. We're going to have this in the news dump here in about an hour or so. U-City has withstood a cyber attack on the city government. Oh, no.
That was long running, over a month, a constant cyber attack. And they didn't say anything about it until they got it contained, which is very smart, by the way. And so I found out about this morning, but apparently this started back in mid to late June. And it targeted several different aspects of their operations, not just the website itself, but they were targeting a lot of their operations. And U-City officials tell us that it did disrupt some services, as you would expect. And they don't know who did it, but they did say that whatever IT security they have did not allow any personal information compromised.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah, which, you got a long-standing attack that could have come from literally anywhere in the world. They acknowledge like, hey, this thing caused problems. It looks like it may have disrupted like online bill pay and access to some records, and some permitting things and all that kind of stuff. But all of that data that they have on the residents and the businesses and the finance, they say none of that was compromised. So listen, good on you, U-City government, for withstanding that. That's 6 weeks of a constant attack that they had to contain. That could not have been easy to do.
Lower your car payment today. Lower your car payment today. Yes, you heard us right. You can lower your car payment right now by making this free call and save up to $1,400 a year on your current car payments. Think about your current car payment right now. What's that costing you per year? Now think about what it would be like to put an extra $1,400 back in your pocket. That's the average savings our customers experience. We can help you drive the same car and pay less every month by lowering your car payments interest rate to as low as 4.67%. At Rate Genius, we can work with you to refinance any car payment. If you qualify, it costs you nothing to find out how you can lower your car payment. To learn more, call this number right now.
800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. That's 800-493-5670.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641. People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rates you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Curbing birthright citizenship, ending birth tourism, and ultimately protecting the value of American citizenship. That's the goal of a pair of presidential directives.
President Trump signed executive orders limiting automatic citizenship in specific cases after a Supreme Court decision blocked a broader effort.
We had a very unfortunate decision in the Supreme Court concerning birthright. It was close, but a very, very unfortunate decision. So we're making adjustments because it's very unfair.
The orders target birth tourism, certain foreign diplomats, and members of designated terrorist groups. Willie Nelson, the White House.
Facebook and Instagram parent Meta has been slapped with another huge fine. A New Mexico court ordering Meta to fork over $567 million for the harm its platforms do to young people. Meta takes issue with that, says there will be an appeal. The attorney for the man accused of starting one of the devastating Spokane wildfires, pressing for a competency hearing before his client enters a plea. Vice President Vance clarifying his stance on the U.S. relationship with Israel. He's been accused by some of being anti-Israel or anti-Jewish. Vance says that is not at all the case.
There are some Israelis who are just so used, at least some people in Israeli media, who are so used to politicians just taking as a given that America and Israel always have shared interests, when I think the reality is that we often have shared interests, but we don't always. And I don't think that makes me anti-Semitic, and I don't think it makes me anti-Israel. I just think it makes me honest.
The vice president speaking with the Salem Radio Network's Hugh Hewitt. How'd the job market fare in July? We'll find out in a few hours when the government releases last month's employment report. Employers pulled back on hiring in June, adding just 57,000 jobs. Watching Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures are up 31 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Progressive presents Perfectly Bad Excuses for Missing Stuff to Spend More Time on Your ATV.
Hey, Wallace. Not going to the reunion after all. Think I got cursed. Keep, stubbing my toe.
Now that was a bad excuse. If you love your vehicle this much, get customized coverage from Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in D.C.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments. Just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the...
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs towards the upper 80s, an increase in our humidity. A few isolated showers and storms possible later on this afternoon, this evening. For the most part, a lot of us remaining dry into Saturday, 90 degrees, partly sunny skies. It feels like temperature close to 100 degrees. Then into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, continue to remain into the triple digits for the feels like temperatures. Partly sunny skies into Sunday, maybe a spot shower or two possible. For the most part, dry. Monday, going to be mostly sunny. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Business owners, download your free playbook for financial clarity at SerenityWealthBiz.com. That's SerenityWealthBiz.com.
Freedom. Freedom is not just a patriotic slogan. It's what allows families to thrive, entrepreneurs to create jobs, and allows students to pursue their dreams, and of course, allows communities to grow stronger. So imagine a Missouri where hard work is rewarded, businesses can grow, parents can have more choices for their kids' education, and young people can build their future right here at home in the Show Me State. That's the vision driving Americans for Prosperity Missouri. We're working alongside citizens just like you all across the state to advance policies that expand opportunity, protect freedom, and remove barriers to success. Learn more at afpmissouri.com. Once again, that's afpmissouri.com. And be sure to connect with us on all of the social media platforms. Just do a search. Americans for Prosperity, Missouri.
When the storm hits and a tree comes down, you need someone you can trust right now. OLI Outdoor Services in Godfrey is on call 24/7 for emergency tree removal, trimming, stump grinding, and land clearing. Serving Illinois and Missouri with licensed, insured professionals and over 200 years of combined experience. Tree removal starting at just $2.99. Free estimates, plus financing. Visit OLIOutdoorServices.com or call 1-888-5-SAWING.
News, analysis, opinion.
I'd love to come on your program and debate you personally. I'm a free, intelligent, average Joe. American people are all worked up. I'm with you. I'm outraged with what's happened. There are a lot of fascinating questions here.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Big guy, one of the biggest in the world.
Susie Moore.
Do you think he's ready?
He's not ready.
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Get up! This is your cousin.
There's a lot of newsy stuff that we're going to get to because Friday we want to have a lot of fun, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
Friday,
as
Monday,
always, exactly. But I want to start off with just like a personal thing I saw yesterday. We talked a lot before about the tipping culture controversies and
yes.
Okay, so I saw one of those things yesterday. I kind of experienced it. I'm curious what people think about that. I'll get to that in just a second here. Also at 6:20, Jerome and I were kind of digging into this on the surface just a little bit, both locally and statewide. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins, locally here, Kurt Bahr, the Director of Elections, St. Charles County, who's actually going to be here with us at 6:35.
Yeah.
They both pointed out, hey, we just noticed there's a big uptick in people wanting nonpartisan ballots. They want to vote, but they don't want to do it with any of the parties.
I think that goes to a point that
right.
young Jerome over here was making not too long ago.
Exactly. So 6:20, I want to dig into that. And we had a number of people kind of respond to that. For instance, soon-to-be State Representative Ann Maloney. She messaged, she goes, hey, I'm seeing that too. And so she mentions that on social media just a few minutes ago. By the way, hi, Ann. Thanks for being part of the conversation here. So I kind of wanted to get, I think it's really interesting. I think it's fascinating a little bit, because I have worked in the third-party realm and found it to be completely ineffective. But there's definitely something driving people away from the parties, but still into being involved in the process. Yeah, so 6:20, I want to dig into that. What are you all seeing out there? 6:07 right now. By the way, quick note, 1 week from today, we're doing the show from Mario's Donuts.
Yay.
Ooh. Yes.
So I have a 3-second commute.
That's right. Exactly. So we're going to be, I actually love doing shows out on location somewhere.
It's fun.
Believe me, technically it's a logistical.
I was gonna say, the producers may feel differently.
It is a it's a logistical pain in the butt. but I actually really enjoy doing it. So mark it down on your calendars. Next Friday, we're going to be at Mario's Donut Restaurant on Mugi Road, which, by the way, you think of donut shops, you think of like little holes in the wall or little like freestanding. Mario's Donut is big. There's plenty of room. So come on out and get breakfast, get some coffee. We are going to have a number of guests there with us, so you never know who you may be able to meet. But Susie and I are going to be there. And so, Jerome, you're gonna be here, and I think Joey V is gonna be out there. I think is that.
Yeah, how does that make sense?
So
you better bring me one back.
I was gonna say I'd bring you a donut, but you'd probably forget it.
Ooh,
the day after my birthday. This is how you treat me.
She didn't do it on your birthday.
I went out of my way to get you a special treat for your birthday, and what do I get in return? Completely being ignored about it.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. Susie's mic is no longer working.
That's fine. I can just shout.
She can. I've heard her. Okay. So Mario's Donut Restaurant next Friday. Come on out. Say hi. It's going to be a lot of fun here. Okay. So I actually had a few things this week that just kind of went well for me. One of those things. And I'm in St. Charles yesterday afternoon. And I'm like, I got a few hours before my baseball game and all this kind of stuff. And for some reason, I just had a hankering for some frozen yogurt.
Okay.
I like frozen yogurt. I'm like, you know what? That sounds good. So I just did a search and found a frozen yogurt place. And I'd never been in this particular one before, but it's normal how they set them up. You got the wall of the things, and you pick your flavor, and you'll pour it into the bowl, and then you put whatever toppings.
Sure.
And then they weigh it.
Sure.
And then you just pay for it, and that's your thing, not a big deal. And so I'm getting my frozen yogurt there, and the looks like a high school age gal was running the store there, and she was doing fine. The store was clean, and she was sweeping and doing all of her stuff. And it was like, I don't know, $9 or $10 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get my card out, and I'm going to pay for it, and she flips the thing around, the screen around, and it asks for a tip. Yeah, and I'm not. She the
right. She
high
was
school,
fine.
The high school girl didn't do anything. That she didn't set up the IT system or anything. That's not her.
No.
And I'm thinking, wait a minute. I did all the work. You clicked a thing on the mouse when you waited. So I'm not mad at her, and she's not the one who set up the system. And they did turn the screen away, so she doesn't see what I'm doing. But it asks for like 10%, 50%, 20%, 30% tip or no tip, like right below it. Well, I hit no tip. I mean, I did all the work. They should be tipping me,
right?
For that. And it just kind of reminded me of these, that there are people who you should tip and tip well.
Yes.
For what they do. And I'm not one of those who like gets angry when there are times where people asking for tips and it's just dumb, which I would put this into that category. But then you see people are like really kind of had it with this whole like tipping culture thing.
I don't like the anxiety it causes me when I'm like, God,
pressure,
do right.
Yeah.
Like this didn't used to be a situation that you would tip for.
Right.
I'm more than happy to be generous with my tipping with someone who is actually like serving me and putting in the time and that sort of thing. But if someone's literally handing me food across the counter,
right?
I don't feel like I don't know. I'm really torn on that.
I think Japan has the right attitude about tipping.
There's no tipping in Japan.
Well, it's not just that. They find it offensive if you do, because that implies that your employer is too cheap to pay you what you deserve, and it also implies it's almost like bribing you to do better at your job.
Right. Yeah.
It's like you're not doing a good enough job. Here's some more money to actually do it right.
Yeah. Did you know TIPS is actually an acronym that goes back? Do you know what that is? TIPS is actually an acronym, and it began probably 100 some odd years ago. This is not a joke. It's actually true.
No.
The income per service?
No. Because originally in this country, you would do the tip up front. And it stood for to ensure proper service.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, if you do well, do well. Here's, but we just kind of came into it.
It became a judgment.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like it's kind of a disservice to the customers because it really does put you in a awkward position. I mean, let me put it this way. I think if someone really wants to give a tip in that circumstance, they should be able to, but they also shouldn't feel pressured to. And that's what I genuinely get anxiety over it.
Yeah. I mean, and I get businesses are there to milk every penny they can, and this would be you would think for all the employees. I mean, we've heard occasionally businesses get caught taking tips, but for the most part, I think they leave them to the employees the way they should be. And the thing is that in the areas where in our culture you're supposed to tip, you should tip well.
Yes.
You should. I mean,
unless they didn't. Yeah,
well, unless they did a
said,
terrible job. Right. Exactly. But like, for instance, you have a waiter or waitress at the sit-down restaurant, and they're, that's how they make their money.
Right.
You have a delivery driver, not like Amazon or the post office. I'm talking like you do
pizza delivery, food delivery, DoorDash, whatever.
Right. You do Grubhub or DoorDash or some of the restaurants that still do that sort of thing. Generally speaking, that's how they make their money, is off the tips.
Sure.
And so you should tip well. And I've heard it be said that if you go to a nice sit-down restaurant or casual dining sit-down restaurant, and they say if you can't afford the tip, you can't afford the meal, because that's part of the cost.
Yeah, and so like bartending is kind of another one of those. I mean, that person is actually going and like preparing your drink or, working the tap, that sort of thing. So to me, that is like, okay. But when you get to the point where they're literally just handing you something that then you're doing or that somebody in the back just prepared and they're just handing it across the counter to you, that's where it seems very murky to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, for instance, if you go to Panera or a Boston Bread Company, I think it's no. That sounds awful. But, it's like they ask for a tip up there, but all they're doing is handing you the empty cup, and then they'll call you when your thing's ready at the little window now. They don't even bring it to you.
So it's like the person preparing the food, like Jerome's saying, they're the ones that should get the tip, not the person that's like manning the register.
I think the dumbest one I ever saw is I went years ago. I don't know why this stuck with me. I was going through, it was like a Dunkin' Donuts or one of those places. I just wanted a cup of coffee. And so I just go through and I get a cup of coffee. And there's a little tip box like on their drive-through ledge.
Yeah.
And literally that's all I had was a cup of coffee. And so I get there and I go to pay for my coffee. And the young woman at the thing, she looks at the box, looks at me, looks at the box, looks at me. I'm thinking, all you did was turn the spigot down and gravity did the work.
And then you handed it to
And then you handed it, and I think that's where I decided I'm not going to feel bad in those situations, for that, but I try to be a good tipper where I should be a tipper. And what's happening is people are exploiting the latter to try to milk more out of the former.
I don't like the gray areas.
Yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable. Quit making me uncomfortable. I just want
pressure.
I don't like it. All right, one of the interesting things about this week's elections in Missouri was the increase in people who wanted to vote but didn't want to support a particular party. At 6:20, let's delve into the rise of the nonpartisan voter.
Inspiration, you have a soul so dark it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. You're making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now.
Well, there you go again, listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Before you blow us all away.
Whatever the season, you always have a great reason to reach out to Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com for all your tree care needs and so much more. Tim Jones here to remind you, Hanson's is your one-stop shop for expert insured tree care, amazing organic mulch, green resource recycling, land clearing, and so much more. Hanson services the entire St. Louis metro, and they also provide their full array of services in and around the Lake of the Ozarks. From tree care to storm cleanup to awesome mulch and more, check out Hanson's at hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
There's always something to celebrate in Augusta, Missouri, just 1 hour from St. Louis. Every season brings festivals and special events you won't want to miss. Hop the free trolley to 10 wineries in America's first wine district. Bike the Katy Trail and explore historic small-town charm. Make Augusta your next getaway. Find events and cozy B&Bs at visitaugusta-chamber.org.
Coming soon, the return of the Defiance Roadhouse. Located on Highway 94 along the Missouri River, this long-standing fixture is known for its biker-friendly atmosphere, live music, and decades as a beloved community gathering place. Rev your engines and stand by for the grand opening, early September. The Roadhouse is back.
Fall means the return of Mizzou football.
And this year promises another great season of SEC action. There's no better place to catch every game than Harpo's in Chesterfield. With its excellent sports bar atmosphere and the best patio in West County, Harpo's is your Tiger headquarters. Harpo'sSTL.com.
Hi, it's Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the largest RE/MAX franchise in the region. The summer housing market is hot, and the fall market looks to be as hot. If buying or selling a home is in your future, it is time to act now. Someday is not a day on the calendar, but today is. Call me, Mark Harder, for fast results. RE/MAX Results, 314-852-8933. 314-852-8933. And start packing.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. The 80s. Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young. Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where the beat?
It's Flashback Friday.
Tell me pretty baby, 'cause I'm still in love with you. Come back.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Is that one of the one-hit... That was... Okay.
I know who it is.
Did Vic Verselli request this one?
No. I know who requested it, too.
There was a song called Comeback. It was like by somebody called like Stevie B or something like that. Now, who's this?
Jay Gall's band.
Oh, Jay Gall's.
It's like Vic's favorite band, yeah.
Well, but this was a request from my handsome beau, David.
Oh, there. Okay, I start off. I'm over
Props to
one on
David.
this one. Yeah,
Taking the theme a little bit literal there.
Yeah.
Yes. And because everybody knows like Jay Gall's band with like Centerfold,
Right.
Huge hit.
Sure.
But this is a little more rocky. I like it.
Yeah, deep cut.
Good stuff here. All right. One of the interesting tidbits, as Susie was just saying, to the primary elections this week, a marked increase in the number of nonpartisan ballots taken to the point where two election officials, one local, one statewide, both kind of proactively said, hey, we just noticed this. There's enough of this happening that we're taking note of this. So are you one of those folks? If so, why? What are you seeing? We actually had an incoming state representative, Em Maloney, mention saying, yeah, I saw that too. So I'm curious what do you think is why. We'll get to that here in just a moment. It's 6:20, but man, there's a lot of ground again, one that was covered throughout the news this week.
Yes.
So here is what the news sounded like, kind of the weekend sound bites, as you heard it here on News Talk STL. Man, it was really a busy one.
Do I believe we're going to have to go in and bomb the hell out of him? Probably, because I don't, unless there's a regime change.
Will Fauci ever be held accountable for what he did to the American people, how he repeatedly lied, how he imposed pain and suffering on Americans beyond all belief, especially to our young people? Will he be held responsible for any of that? I doubt it.
The Rittner School District is taking a stand to protect its families from ICE.
I was disappointed with Janine Pirro, really disappointed with Janine Pirro. She folded like an umbrella.
Hey, Cardinal fans, Lars Newpart here. It's an emotional time for me. I just want to thank you guys for everything.
At issue is not the number of signatures turned into the challenge, the new congressional map, but the fact that the referendum itself is null and void by virtue of the fact that it is unconstitutional.
Look, I think Missourians are generally conservative. I just think Amendment 4 and 5 failed the KISS principle, and that is keep it simple, stupid.
So I want the citizens of St. Louis County to understand something that gets lost in these conversations. This is not a spending problem. This is a revenue problem. This is a revenue crisis.
Let's find ways to cut spending. And let's look very closely at what are we spending our money on, how are we spending it, and what can we do without.
I'd rather make a deal because I don't want to kill people.
He already had that auto pen pardon. He has immunity. You can't come in and take the fifth. He took it so many times, I started calling him Dr. Fifth. It is an absolute joke. This guy needs to be charged. We sent over a referral today to the Department of Justice. He can spend a year in prison for contempt of Congress. I hope they go after him hard.
It just doesn't let up week to week to week.
No.
At this
No.
point.
There's no shortage of news out there.
Nope, not in the least bit. Okay, so let's talk about this because I think we've gotten into the results of the elections themselves kind of ad nauseum at this point. Now it's just a matter of will the Republicans or will the Democrats or will the different advocacy groups learn from what voters said? We'll find out in November, I guess. But one of the things that was really interesting to me is that there was a marked increase of nonpartisan ballots taken. Okay, so I know this sounds in the weeds, but I don't think it is. What that's telling me, Jerome and Susie, is that people went out of their way to show up to vote, had the opportunity to vote in the primary elections for state representative, Congress, whatever, executive, whatever is on the ballot in your area, and proactively said, I'm not interested in that. Just give me the nonpartisan ballot so I can vote on amendments 1 through 4. And then whatever local, questions, prop questions are in your area. So I want to be involved. I want to vote, but I'm not interested in participating in the Republican or the Democrat, I guess technically, or the third parties, although I don't know that the third parties had any primary elections on it. And so they went out of their way to vote, but they also went out of the way to not take a Republican or Democrat ballot because we're still not a closed primary state. You can still pick whatever ballot you want. And we saw that with Kurt Bahr in St. Charles County. He posted on social media, big increase in nonpartisan ballots. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins said the same thing as well. So what drives somebody to say, I'm absolutely being involved, I'm doing my voting, I'm having my voice heard, I just don't care about the R or the D?
Well, for me and a lot of people like me, I think it's the idea that you're not getting that much different from either one of the parties. So if you are a person that succumbs to mainstream media indoctrination, then you're pretty much going to stick very heavily to one way or another in general. So that's where you see like a lot of the DSA people, a lot of the low-informed, Trump is a Nazi, we must defend our democracy, even though we can't define the difference between a democracy and a republic. Those types of people are clinging very hard to there. I think the general public, though, it's a lot of us that showed up to support Trump and was actually hoping that this massive red wave was going to continue, feel very let down by a lot of what the Republicans have been doing as a party. It doesn't feel like there's very much of a difference between the parties. It's just essentially, I guess, which lobbies are supporting who. And so in general, we still want to see certain things get done. Like I personally would have loved to see Amendment 4 and Amendment 5 pass. I'm not going to be fighting as hard. And I know a lot of people that are just straight up not going to be even showing up anymore because what's the point?
I think there's some of that. And in particular in this, in Tuesday's election, there were some big ticket issue items on the ballot, not just sort of like your rinky-dink little proposals that don't necessarily affect people or that they don't necessarily dial in on. But I also do think there is the idea that particularly the way Missouri is set up right now, there's not a lot of, we talk about how the primary is the race. Yeah. So, like, in a lot of districts, a Republican is going to win, or in certain blue districts, a Democrat is going to win, and it's going to not probably even be that close necessarily. So it's just not as big of an issue for you. Even if you think that there is a difference between the parties, you just may feel like your vote on the candidates isn't going to make a difference.
Well, then there's something to be said as well of this is, I think, maybe a way of trying to send a message that people are still going to be showing up to vote. You're just not owed we are not owed to support you, so to speak. So we're still here. We're still coming out. But it's one way of saying, but we're not showing up on your team. We're showing up on our own team. And there is a massive call right now. I mean, there's a lot of people leaving both sides of both parties because they want something that's different. But of course, the unfortunate thing is that the libertarians can't get their stuff together, and it's not even worth sometimes.
I tried. I was with them for a long time and finally went, this is crazy. Why did I waste so much time with them? Every once in a while you hear you're like, we need a good third party, and everybody goes, or many people go, yeah, but they don't realize the work that goes into it, and there's just third parties. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
A lot
I mean,
of wonky people.
What's that?
A lot of wonky people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just the way our system is set up, it kind of devolves to the binary. I mean, you end up with that either or choice. I think it also ties into something I was talking about earlier because we were trying to figure out how you elect, like in Missouri, we elected a bunch of Republicans, and these were like 4 and 5 were like the number 1 and number 2 agenda items that supposedly that they ran on and that we supposedly wanted from them, but yet we didn't pass those. And that's where I think you're seeing that that difference, that dichotomy between how people feel about individual candidates and individual elected politicians versus policy.
Yeah. I mean, I think kind of piggybacking on what both of you just said, I can't think of any Democrats, maybe one Democrat that I'll vote for in November. But Republicans still have to earn my vote.
Yes.
I'm not going to go in and just say, well, that's the Republican, I guess I have to vote for him. I'm not going to do that. You know, I can think of one Democrat that I may very well vote for in the local elections here. So Democrats don't get my vote. Republicans still have to earn it. You just can't assume that because you're the Republican, you're going to get it.
Yeah, and I do think that the way that we, the gerrymandering, the district drawing, does not line up well with that.
Right.
So that's the downside of that.
Yeah, when we do it, when our side does it, it's redistricting. When their side does it, it's gerrymandering.
Well said.
So I mean, I feel like there's a real disconnect right now between the parties and the populace.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. 100%.
We talk about it all the time at Red State about the Democrats because the Democrats are in disarray. I mean, the DNC is a mess. I was going to use a different word, decided not to. But I mean, it's a mess right now. The Republican Party is much better situated in terms of like its finances right now, and its organization is holding. But there's a lot of fractures there too, and I think it's just because it means like growing pains. The parties, I've said this millions of times, we're in the middle of a major shift. And we don't know what it's going to look like when we come out the other side. So it's kind of hard to know which direction to look.
Yeah, I mean, for people that are closer to my age, if you're on the left, the Democrat Party's too far right for you. And if you are on the right, then the Republican Party's too far left for you. And that's sort of the weird splitting that I'm seeing. At least
the Republican Party's absolutely moved to the left over the past few years. I mean, the moving to the populist, trying to go to the populist center is moving to the left. So I think that might be one of the splits or the fissures, if not a full split that you're talking about. Because we saw that in states like Kansas, overwhelming Republican majorities, and then you had the so-called moderates and the conservatives split. And so the joke was in Kansas for years, there were 3 parties. There were Republicans, there were Democrats, and there were and conservatives. And that could be approaching that in Missouri at some point. I think we're starting to see a little bit of that. And then I think at some point you're going to have this at the national level, the basically MAGA centrist populism versus the actual ideological conservatives at some point, because there's a lot of areas where MAGA is just not particularly conservative. It's populist. It's in some cases center left. It's a very different view than traditional conservatism.
It made me think of something. I know we're running out of time, but I mean, you were talking about ideological. I think we're moving away from the ideological.
Yeah, you're probably.
I think people want to see like practical solutions. Whatever label you slap on it, they want to see how's this going to work for me and my community. You can call it whatever you want to call it. You can call it socialism. I don't care. Is it going to work for me and my community?
Yeah, I think that's right, and that's got some good practical things. I also think it's also opening the door for some really bad stuff too.
Sure is.
Yeah, it'd be nice if politicians that say America First actually meant America First. But speaking of the sudden rising of nonpartisan ballots, Kurt Bahr, the St. Charles County's election director, will be here with us at 6:35. A big part of the election process happens today, and he'll explain what's happening.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Our country was founded by geniuses, but it's being run by idiots.
On NewsTalk-STL. From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs towards the upper 80s, an increase in our humidity. A few isolated showers and storms possible later on this afternoon, this evening. For the most part, a lot of us remaining dry into Saturday, 98 degrees, partly sunny skies. It feels like temperature close to 100 degrees. Then into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, continue to remain into the triple digits for the feels like temperatures. Partly sunny skies into Sunday, maybe a spot shower or two possible. For the most part, dry. Monday, going to be mostly sunny. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, Dad, what causes drains to clog?
Grease, hair, soap scum, and tree roots.
Tree roots?
This town has old pipes and big trees. They find each other.
They grow inside pipes?
They bust into pipes.
Whoa.
Once they're in, the water stops flowing.
Can we fix it?
The big green grasser machine can fix any clog.
Green is always grasser at grasserhomeservices.com.
Hey guys, don't miss Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. where we talk about so many areas, including AI, law, and health. We have some fantastic guests on my show. Don't forget, Sunday evenings at 8 p.m., Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser.
Stand and Fight with Nick Schroer.
Hey, it's Nick Schroer. To preserve this nation, to preserve the experiment in liberty that our founders envisioned, we must take a stand and fight.
Stand and Fight with Nick Schroer. Sunday nights at 6.
Only on News Talk STL.
It's a brand new show on News Talk STL. JC's Sunday Showgram.
I was 12 and looking rad riding around the south side of Chicago on my Stingray with a sissy bar and banana seat, and I outsmarted the Beatles. You'll hear the story. Plus, 8/8/88 was the first scheduled night game at Wrigley Field, and I was there and got gypped out of $1,500. All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
Sunday morning, 7 to 9. Then podcast each Monday on NewsTalkSTL.com. Colombo and Company.
Senate Republicans advance contempt of Congress charges against Anthony Fauci, but will any actual consequences come from it? We'll talk about it Friday, plus Mayor James Knowles and the weekend forecast from Steve Templeton.
Live and local, weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL. The 80s. Excellent. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
Patty Smythe and Scandal.
Mm-hmm. That was a classic.
See,
1984.
Kurt Bahr with the director of elections of St. Charles County. So, it's Flashback Friday. We do here. It's all 80s bump music that's requested by the audience.
Yeah, when I was in grade school.
You did not have to go there.
I threw that out there.
I know he's within arms where you could
know,
punch him, but it probably
exactly.
wouldn't make for.
Yeah, you're on camera.
We're thinking about back to school, and I'm thinking Blackhurst Elementary School in St. Charles.
And Jerome was asking for what are those comeback songs, those fight songs, because around the state, conservatives took kind of a thumping on some things, without a doubt. So that was a fun one. Here's a fun fact: Patty Smythe was reported to be the first choice for Van Halen after David Lee Roth left the band. Mm-hmm. They wanted her. And she did an interview, said, my husband and I just had a baby. She's like, I can't go, do a world rock tour, And so then,
good choice, Patty.
Then Sammy Hagar ended up becoming the lead singer of Van Halen when Patty Smythe turned it down.
Yeah. I just want to say for the record, I was not in college when this song was out. I was in high school.
There you go. 84, I would have been in junior high, I guess.
Yeah, I know. I'm the old one.
Just say that. All right. Well, we just referenced it. Kurt Bahr for the Director of Elections for St. Charles County. Voter turnout. I'm always kind of amazed by this. You made your prediction of what the turnout was going to be. Secretary of State Danny Hoskins. And you guys are pretty darn accurate on those. They basically came in about a third of the registered voters showed up. And I know there's a lot of people say, you mean 2/3 of voters didn't show up? Yes, I lament that. But 32% in a primary election is pretty high, actually.
Statewide, yeah, in St. Charles County was 36%.
36, okay.
Yeah, so the average in St. Charles is 25%, which is a fourth. So a third is a lot better than a fourth when it comes to participation, and it looks like it was those constitutional amendments that drove that extra 10%.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw those predictions because I knew 2022 was a big primary year, and I was surprised when it was predicted to be outstrip that. But I think particularly in St. Charles with the county executive race and then the constitutional amendments, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, because statewide, I mean, we were just talking before you came in about, you put out a post about the nonpartisan ballots that were pulled. There was a spike in that. Was it almost 1 in 10?
Yeah, 9% in St. Charles County, which normally we see 3, 4, maybe 5% for an August primary where people are selecting the non-party ballot with just the ballot measures. We actually had issues in some counties, not St. Charles, but some counties. They actually were running out of that ballot.
Jackson County, yeah. And Secretary of State Denny Hoskins even proactively said basically what you said. We saw a really big increase in those nonpartisan ballots, and that tells me that it was those amendments 4 and 5 that people were making sure they were showing up to vote one way or the other on 4 and 5. But the constitutional amendments themselves, it's like I'm not voting on committee person or state rep primary or whatever it is, but I'm going to vote on 4 or 5.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that's maybe the beginning of a trend? Are we going to see more of this?
That is the question that I would love to answer. The answer, I think, is yes, but probably only a little bit. Anecdotally talking to people, they're like, yeah, my kid, they're like, I'm not taking a party's ballot. I only want this. I want that. Typically what we see is voters are thinking if they get the nonpartisan, they'll get both Republican and Democrat because they want to vote for everything like they do in November. And then they realize this isn't the ballot I want. They spoil it, then get one of the party's ballots. That's usually what we see. And so normally when people are pulling nonpartisan ballots, we end up spoiling that, giving them a party ballot. That's the norm. But this time they were asking for the nonpartisan and then voting the nonpartisan. They didn't want to select party.
That's interesting. Okay, so the voting's over, but the election process is not.
Correct.
So you have something going on today. And I saw your post. That's why I wanted to talk to you about this today. So part of this process is happening today, and it directly, I think, answers some of the questions. And there was a lot of weird stuff that was out there during the campaigns, the election. But you're doing an audit, and this involves the hand counting. And my understanding is if anybody wants to come and watch this, they can do it in person.
Absolutely. So 9 a.m. today at the Election 30 office, 397 Turner Boulevard, we are having the statutory mandatory hand count audit. So we will take our paper ballots and then we randomize the list of precincts, and then whoever shows up, we'll say, hey, pick a number 1 through 117, the number of precincts we have. And then they'll pick a number, and then that'll correspond to a precinct. And then the state law says we have to do a congressional race, we have to do a state rep race, we have to do a local judge race, all these different things. And then because it's a primary election, then we'll flip a coin. Are we going to do a Republican or Democrat ballot or whatnot? And then we'll do one of the 4 statewide petitions, and then we will randomly pick these precincts, and then we'll hand count those ballots from that precinct on that race, and then we'll compare that to the election night totals that were reported and show that what we reported election night matches the hand count audit. And this is just a double check to make sure that the machines are properly working. The other thing that we do is we'll take one of our machines and we'll rerun all the ballots in that machine a second time and then look at today's results from election night's results to show that the machine is counting the same way a second time. And so this is just something that's done in every election in every county. And the Friday after the election is by tradition the day that most clerks throughout the state are doing this process.
Mm-hmm. So what happens if the hand count total comes back different?
So it's not uncommon for the hand count total to come off different a little bit the first time around. And then, the only way to check a hand count is to hand count again. So we'll do it again. And if it's different again, and sometimes that happens, we'll do it a third time. And generally what we've seen is the hand count is wrong. And then by the time they've done it 2 or 3 times, they finally get to a number where the team is like, yep, this is finally the right number. They compare it to what the machine has, and lo and behold, the machine was accurate the first time around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I think a lot of people don't like to hear that. But across the country, when they've run tests on these things, I'm not talking about the electronic voting. I'm talking about tallying physical paper ballots. Because that's the thing people need to understand in Missouri. Paper ballots are the
ballot
law.
Readers.
Yes,
right.
they're paper and maybe unless you've got a disability. But we're talking for almost
even those machines still produce a paper ballot. So that it depends on which machine you have. In St. Charles County, the one we have looks kind of like a long receipt, but then over in Lincoln County, the one they produce looks more like a normal ballot.
Okay.
But either way, when you're using those ADA compliant machines, you're still printing a paper ballot, and then that paper ballot's put through the reader just like a hand filled out paper ballot.
But what we found over the years, and I know that there's going to be people who don't want to hear this, the machines tend to be more accurate than the human counting. And I know we don't, I don't like that that's what we found, but that's generally what we found across the country in blue states and in red states and in blue counties and red counties. And but talk about the importance of still having the hand count audit of this, because, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, the opponent you just defeated was like all hand counting, all kind of stuff. And I said, yeah, that sounds really, really populist, but it's less accurate.
Exactly. So the process we have, where we have the paper ballots that are counted by the machine, which is effective and efficient, and then we follow up with that audit, and we say, hey, let's take a look. It's trust but verify, even with the election machines. And then if there were a massive disagreement between this hand count today and the machines, well, then there are processes in place to look further into the election to say, is there something else going on with the election? Was there something wrong with that one machine, or something else with the election?
So our friend Monty from Rumble says, how do you ensure that the machines are not going to be hacked afterwards, or how do you find poll workers that you can guarantee are not going to cheat by maybe double scanning a ballot or tampering some other way with that?
So one, this is all done like in public. That's why we're inviting people to come and watch the process, so they can see, hey, this person's counting, this person's recording. You can watch them do that, so you know that they're not cheating. We also, everything that we do is bipartisan. So these teams are bipartisan teams. And the idea there is that, you know, one team is checking, you know, making sure the other one's not cheating. So we do that. And then, you know, the other thing is that, you know, we have the tape, the readout from Election Day. So we know kind of like a starting point, this is the number we are expecting to see. And if it's off, well, then we're going to do it again, and we're going to figure out, why is it off? Is it off because, you know, they were just grossly miscounting or cheating? Was it off because the machine was in fact broken and we have a bad result, or what the case may be? What I have found in the 8 years I've been the election director is when the hand count is off the first time around, it's usually only by a little bit, it's human error, because people aren't good at repetitive, consistent tasks over and over again. You know, we're more creative than that. And that's why we've created machines to do so many of the repetitive tasks that we need. But we like this ability to be able to test the machines, to test the system, and prove it's accurate, so that we know that, yes, we programmed it correctly. But as far as the hacking, you know, our machines are not connected to the internet in any way. The only way to program the machines is to have physical access, which is why our chain of custody procedures for our machines is so important, which is why we have, you know, a secured area within a secured area to store the machines, which is why, you know, anytime we're in that area, it's a bipartisan team who are programming the machines. And so, you know, we protect the integrity of that process by physical security as much as, you know, just the other processes that we have.
You know, I know personally when I've gone to vote, and I don't know if this is what Monty was asking, but when you actually put the thing into the machine, every time there's been somebody there, they will not touch it. I'm like, okay, here's my ballot. They'll go, okay, we'll just put it right in there. I think that sounds like that is probably a policy thing, to where I'm the one putting it in, not them.
Right. Yeah. So election judges are there to assist the voter. They're not there to help the voter vote, right? And so, you know, even if somebody's blind and they don't want to use the machine, they say, no, I want you to read the ballot to me, or even record my totals. It has to be done in a bipartisan manner. You know, the two judges checking each other, making sure that we're voting that voter's ballot correctly. But most people will bring an assistant. But yeah, our election judges, we don't even really want to look at the ballot to see how you are voting. If there's an error, if a voter overvoted, the machine kicks it out saying, hey, you overvoted. Do you want a chance to spoil this ballot and vote a new ballot? All we're really trying to see is, what is that error code? Did you kind of jam the paper a little bit? Did you overvote? We want to explain that issue to you. Okay, it looks like you overvoted on this amendment. You vote yes and no. Do you want to spoil that? And so that's all we're trying to do. We don't want to touch anybody's ballot, so that the voters completely independent. The secrecy of their ballot is paramount.
Were there any races in St. Charles that were close enough that there may be an actual recount?
No. we had such wide turnout in all of the elections. There is no within 1% that would necessitate a court-issued recount for that reason. And then statewide, the 4 ballot measures were so broad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in Jefferson County, there was a 3-way race.
Yeah.
For
we
court.
did see that. Yeah.
They all got 33% plus a few.
Yeah.
So that's going to be kind of interesting.
That is going to be interesting.
So when Jefferson County does their hand count audit, they will have to pick that race and hand count one of those races just because it's tight.
Yeah.
Now, whoever came in second can sue for a full recount. I don't know if they will or not, but they have the legal right to do so.
Yeah. Okay, we're a little over time, but last question here. Kurt Bahr, St. Charles County Director of Elections. Then I want to remind people, because you don't have to make a reservation. You can just walk out and show up and watch this process today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Doors are open. It's the same place everybody goes to absentee vote, 397 Turner Boulevard. Starts at 9 a.m. It takes hours, so bring comfy shoes or, and then be prepared to watch. Or you're allowed to leave if you get bored because it's really not. The only thing more boring than hand counting a paper ballot is watching a team hand count a paper ballot.
You're not going to have like a Twitch stream set up so people can watch?
No.
Okay, so was there anything that you saw in St. Charles County where you say, okay, before November we need to tweak that or something we need to improve upon, or did things run essentially as they were supposed to?
The process on our end ran really smooth. Where we saw some problems was actually electioneering. I had candidates were putting T-posts through sprinkler systems as polling places, which is obviously problematic. Issues with one candidate's person trying to intimidate another candidate's person, and those types of issues. So the issues that I had to deal with were outside the polling place, not inside the polling place. And so we'll try to work to see if we can, have a little bit better communication with the candidates and their teams of electioneerers, outside to try to have a nicer November election.
A nicer gauntlet as you're walking into
Yeah.
vote. All right. Hey, Kurt, thanks so much. Appreciate that. I know you got stuff to get to. It's a busy day. The election's not over. The voting's over, but the election's not over here at this point.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
You got it.
President Trump takes another swing at the birthright citizenship issue. We're going to fill you in on that at 7:05, right after the news dump at 6:50.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Someone in that control room is out of control.
On News Talk STL.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic. And I love the kitchen you found with all these great crumbs.
Yeah, baby. Only the finest crumbs in the kitchen for my favorite aunt. Oh, no. It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Hey, it's Susie Moore for Window World. Did you know that in just over the last 20 years, Window World of St. Louis has improved the look and thermal efficiency for over 80,000 customers in St. Louis? Plus, Window World windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And now, Window World is offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today at 800-GET-WINDOWS for a free in-home, no-pressure estimate. That's Window World at 800-GET-WINDOWS. They're the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here, your financial friend with Serenity Wealth Management. Tune in this Sunday for the Serenity Wealth Now show. This week, we've got special guests. Megan and Lisa, my friends with the Avalon Park Independent Community, are coming in to share some exciting news about the neighborhoods they're bringing right here to the St. Louis marketplace. So tune in, check it out right here on News Talk STL, Sunday morning, 9 a.m., or on Serenity Wealth Now social media outlets. We'll see you then.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper, Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stigall. Request a portfolio review from your Stigall financial advisor at Stigall.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Stop you, there's nothing that's strong. So close now, you're nearly at the brink. So push it. Ooh, yeah.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Oh, there's not come back. This had to be a montage in a movie.
I think this was Karate Kid.
Karate, yeah.
It's either that or
it is,
Rocky.
yeah.
It's one of those two.
It's got to be.
Who is it? Loverboy?
Paul Engelman. It was from a movie soundtrack, so I don't know if he was like a big name.
I see. This sounds more Karate Kiddish to me.
Yeah, it does.
Than
And maybe
Rocky.
like Karate Kid 3. I don't know.
Yeah. Here's the thing: this is going to shock nobody, being as nerdy and geeky as I am. I was a sucker for those like training montages parts of the movies. We had a lot of those back in. We had Rocky, we had Over the Top, we had Karate Kid, we had Bloodsport. We had all those.
Does this push it to the limit?
This is from Scarface.
Scarface.
That's where it's from. Okay.
Oh, wow. I guess I got the movie wrong on that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's a totally different vibe.
All right, 6:53 here. U-City's government withstands a long-running cyber attack.
Yikes.
This was something here. And will Anthony Fauci face criminal prosecution? That's now in the hands of the DOJ. And as Susie was just saying, we're going to get into this a little bit. Birthright citizenship and birth tourism back in the news. Let's do a news dump here.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by The Nutrition Stop.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
University City government weathers a long-running cyber attack. City officials say the attack started on June 19th and targeted their online bill payment process and online services. They include access to some records and some of the permitting process, at least the online part of it. In a statement to the media, City Manager Brooke Sharp says no personal information was compromised during the attack, although the attack did disrupt some city services at times. No word yet on who was responsible for that attack.
Yikes.
We think of a cyber attack as like, go get them and phew, boy. Weeks of a constant cyber attack that they had to fend off and contain.
That's a little, disconcerting.
Very, very much so. So, hey, good on you, City, for, if they're right and no personal information was compromised, good on you for that. That could not have been easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, as you know, Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee voted on Thursday, party line vote, to hold former director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, Dr. Anthony Fauci, otherwise known as the Science, in contempt of Congress for his invocation of the Fifth Amendment and for refusing to answer questions at a hearing last week. Chairman of the committee is Rand Paul. He says the vote is not about Fauci's actions during the COVID-19 era.
We are voting on whether a witness who has received the benefit of a sweeping federal pardon can be ordered by this committee to answer questions and then defy that order without consequence.
Okay, so the ranking member, so the leading Democrat, is Gary Peters, senator from Michigan, and he argues that the vote is going to damage the Senate's ability to subpoena witnesses in the future.
Future witnesses will argue that appearing before Congress exposes them to punishment regardless of whether they comply with the subpoena and invoke a constitutional protection.
Okay, so now, as we talked about yesterday, this has been referred over to the Department of Justice, and it's completely up to them as to what happens with it now.
Right, and they'll assess whether or not they've got, evidence that's going to prove, beyond a reasonable doubt that he violated, committed a crime, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and you can't separate out some of the political pressures on this, but from a legal perspective, then the DOJ just has to say, do we have a prosecutable case and do we have a likelihood of success?
Yeah.
And that's not the only thing that could be facing Anthony Fauci. Republican attorneys general in West Virginia, Florida, Louisiana, issuing subpoenas against Dr. Anthony Fauci. Florida's investigation is focused on the COVID guidance and the awards and the financial incentives that he received or he provided. And this, of course, comes after that committee vote. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was on Fox's Hannity.
It was a very, very suffocating narrative. Fauci was being held up as a demigod. If you dissented from him, they were saying you were a quack who refused to recognize science, when in reality, he was the one that was misrepresented.
My guess is that you're going to probably see a few other red states jump on board this sort of thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if Missouri does.
Yeah.
I do think that kind of helps him in his legal argument about invoking the Fifth.
Yeah, I think, that makes a lot of sense. All right, Senator Mitch McConnell remains allegedly alive. The 84-year-old senator's office released a statement saying he's been released from the hospital. He's doing physical therapy from his home. His office says he suffered a fall in mid-June and then developed pneumonia while in the hospital. Obviously, he's not running for re-election. He ain't running anywhere in his condition.
I got nothing.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay. Let's see here. We're going to get into the birth tourism thing here at around 7:05. I'm going to skip that one because we're going to go into more detail on that. President Trump hosting Team USA at the White House reception on Thursday, honoring the athletes who competed in the 2026 Winter Olympics and the Paralympics, which were in Italy. And he particularly was interested in praising both the men's and the women's hockey teams for their gold medal wins.
Team USA beat Canada 2-1 thanks to many memorable performances and clutch plays, including the golden goal. They scored it. They call it the golden, it sounds like me naming it. I call it the golden age of America. The golden age of America. Now we have the golden goal.
120 of the 232 athletes who represented the U.S. at the games were there. So that's apparently the most in history for this sort of thing.
Very cool.
For showing up. All right, Cardinals are back home starting a series against the Rockies tonight. Kyle Leahy going to be on the mound for this one. At least that's the schedule as of this morning. First pitch is at 7:05. This game's going to be over the air on Channel 4.
Hey everyone, this is Jesse from Reach Reproductive Health, and I need you to mark your calendar because on October 22nd, it's going to be a big night in St. Louis. It's going to be our second annual Reach Gala, and it's happening at the factory. Incredible live music, powerful speakers, a night to celebrate life, and to support the Reach mission. Stay tuned to find out who's taking the stage. I promise you won't want to miss it. Registration is open right now at outreachforlife.org/gala.
Your trees do a lot for you. Shade, beauty, curb appeal, but are they safe? Clever Tree Service has been protecting St. Louis homes and landscapes for over 20 years. Pruning, trimming, removal, stump grinding, even 24/7 emergency storm service. Fully insured, eco-friendly, and always focused on you. From Kirkwood to Chesterfield, Webster Groves to Wildwood, your neighbors trust Clever Tree Service. Visit clevertreeservice.com for your free quote today.
JC's Wayback Machine.
He's played the president's chief of staff, and a couple of his sons have been in lots of movies and TV shows. Martin Sheen is this week's A-List Interview of the Week. Plus, you'll hear Tom Petty's demo for Into the Great Wide Open and some acoustic stuff from Jeff Lynne. All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9. On News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. Amit Thomason. Another Senate Republican says she'll oppose Todd Blanche's nomination as Attorney General. Senator Lisa Murkowski says she's concerned that under Blanche, the administration could go ahead with its proposed anti-weaponization fund, even though Blanche has issued an order terminating the fund. Birthright citizenship, President Trump has signed an executive order curbing it. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller says a second executive order tackles birth tourism.
The idea that people come here pretending to be a tourist, pretending to be a visitor, saying they want to go to Disneyland, they want to go visit a monument or go to a national park, but the real reason they're here is to have a child, to make that child an automatic citizen, leave our country, and then have a U.S. citizen child. It gives them access under this broken system to welfare benefits, ultimately to the voting booth, and all the other rights and privileges that belong solely to Americans. So that practice of birth tourism is, as of the signing of this order, hereby banned.
Both executive orders are in response to a Supreme Court ruling that the president describes as unfortunate. It's been a deadly school shooting near Bangkok, Thailand.
A witness told reporters students at the Debsurin Nonthaburi school hid inside a classroom while they heard gunshots from another building before police officers cleared a way for them to leave. About an hour after the shooting, people stood outside the school comforting one another, and police and first responders walked around inside the school. Deputy Interior Minister Polapi Suwinchi has told reporters 5 teachers died and that the shooter killed his 2 grandparents at home before going to the school. The minister also said the shooter had died at the hospital. I'm Charles Dillard.
On Wall Street, the Dow futures are up 74 points. NASDAQ futures 165 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Alex Marlowe cuts through the political spin on the Alex Marlowe podcast.
The economics of illegal immigration is so dumb, it's so stupid for Americans. We want American dollars to stay in America. That's how the economy grows. But if I pay an illegal alien and they send 50% of it home, the money doesn't go to American businesses. It goes to another country. Why do we want that? It's a race to the far left Islamist wing of the party.
Subscribe for free today on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or at Salem Podcast Network.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs towards the upper 80s, an increase in our humidity. A few isolated showers and storms possible later on this afternoon, this evening. For the most part, a lot of us remaining dry into Saturday, 90 degrees, partly sunny skies. It feels like temperature close to 100 degrees. Then into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, continue to remain into the triple digits for the feels like temperatures. Partly sunny skies into Sunday, maybe a spot shower or two possible. For the most part, dry. Monday, going to be mostly sunny. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Couch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Window World of St. Louis. For replacement windows, doors, and siding, call 800-GET-WINDOWS. That's 800-GET-WINDOWS.
Yo, this is Vic. Vic for Vets is proudly honoring our veterans. Every Wednesday at 11:05, you'll hear about that day's honoree and their incredible service to our country.
Hi, it's Ken. You want to nominate a veteran? Send their name, service information, and story to me, Ken, at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Brought to you by Heroes Care, Alamo Military Collectibles, Gemini Wealth Group, Michael's Funeral Home, and Freddie's Market.
Together, let's celebrate the heroes in our community, Vic for Vets, where honor meets gratitude.
Hey, folks, Jamie Allman here for Newsteader's Fine Jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend, wowdiamonds.com. It's Wow Diamonds for a reason. These are beautiful lab-grown diamonds. They are gorgeous. They will blind you when you walk in and see them, but that's a good thing. Great engagement sets, wedding sets, all these beautiful God-created gems, sapphires, rubies, you name it, garnets, and also all the gold you need, and the famous bull of a watch, wowdiamonds.com.
Mike Ferguson.
I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. I don't take no from anyone.
Susie Moore.
I disagree on his assessment of the situation.
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, President Trump taking another swing at dealing with birthright citizenship. Obviously, there was a very controversial decision by the Supreme Court this year. Is he defying the Supreme Court's ruling, or is he trying to navigate the issue with the Supreme Court's ruling? And just so you know, Susie, I'm going to lean on you on this one coming up here in just a moment, but also going to lean on you to talk about redstate.com here. Obviously, as I say every Friday, and I truly mean this, it's okay to decompress at 9:01 on Saturday after the Randy Tobler Show, and then relax, get your mind off things. But redstate.com is where you're going to find the news you need before you take a break, and it's going to be there when you come back. So, Susie, when I go on redstate.com today, where should I start?
This is the Red State Rundown.
Start with Mayor Zoflake. Nicarama has this one.
I love that name, by the way.
Well, we got to give credit to the New York Post. They're the ones that came up with it. Mom Donnie gets nailed with new nickname after a blistering report about how thin-skinned he is. So she gives a little rundown on his reported behaviors in response to people being critical of him. Oh, boo-hoo. So, yes.
And his wife is a little emotional when things get hot and heated.
Well, she's a Zoflake, too, then.
Yeah.
So that's a good one to check out this morning. And then we've got from Bob Hogue a little bit of an upset surprise last night in Tennessee. Trump-backed Tennessee Rep Andy Ogles falls in GOP primary to former agriculture commissioner.
Yeah,
I did. When I saw that, I was like, did we think that was going to happen? Like, was Andy Ogles in trouble? I didn't know that. Well, he is now.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, from our good friend Ward Clark, Alaska Man, one of our go-tos when it comes to all things climate, energy, that sort of thing. This is a VIP piece. It's titled New Data, CO2 Fuels Record Global Vegetation Boom, Not Catastrophe.
Yeah.
Funny how that works.
Well, and this, okay, every once in a while people have to be reminded of that, because I remember being taught, like in grade school, just in like the science class, that carbon dioxide is eaten up by the greenery.
Right.
There's
a system there that kind of reinforces it. Yeah,
So people are like, we need to, get rid of carbon dioxide. I'm like, and the trees and the plants are like, hey, but we're hungry.
Exactly.
So yeah, more CO2 means more food, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's Ward's title of that article again?
New Data, CO2 Fuels Record Global Vegetation Boom, Not Catastrophe.
Yeah, and you know what? When the cyclical, the cycle of temperatures going up and down on the planet, because it's not static climate.
Right.
Guess what happens with warmer temperatures? There's more water and there's more food.
Right. The climate changes.
Yeah.
As it's supposed to do. If it didn't ever change, we'd all be dead, frozen in time.
We would be dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally. So okay. All right. So 708. Okay. So President Trump signs a couple of executive orders here. So let's get into what they are and what they are not, because President Trump, as we know, there are some times where the Supreme Court's issued a ruling. He's like, nope, I'm doing it anyway.
He has never done that.
Well, but he'll come in and say, I may have a new approach to it, but I'm you know what?
Joe Biden did that.
Yeah.
Donald Trump has never said, I'm going to defy what the Supreme Court just said. He has never done it. Find me the time that he said he's going to do it.
I mean, he's like, well, I can't unilaterally do this tax, but I'll try it this way. And I'll try.
He's tried other ways. He's tried to
Right.
find other ways around it, but he has never said, I'm going to defy what the Supreme Court said. He has said, but that's what they decided.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to figure out a different way.
So with the birthright citizenship thing, he's taking another swing at it.
Yep.
So let's look at what he's doing, because there's two of these, and they're two separate things on this. One of these, and they're targeting the birth tourism, because what the Supreme Court did not do was commented all in that ruling on what immigration policy should be.
No.
That's a crucial matter here. So what is it that he's doing, because he's targeting this birth tourism? Because there's some areas where there were already carve outs, like for instance, if you're a diplomat from another country, you have a baby while you're here, that doesn't count. And he's kind of expanding that in one of these, but that seems to be something that the Supreme Court did not touch, because there was already something on there.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically what he's doing, there's two different orders. One is it's formally classifying who is ineligible to take advantage of it. So it kind of like leans into the fact that there are exceptions to birthright citizenship. We've already recognized those. This is just kind of formally putting the decor around that, emphasizing that, if you will. And then the second one is clamping down on the practice where fraudsters are abusing the visa system. So in other words, like whether or not to grant visa, if there's indication that this may be someone who's going to try and take advantage of this, they're going to be scrutinizing that process much more closely.
Okay, so let's make a hypothetical of who we're talking about here. What we're talking about is somebody coming from another country, because there was a whole-on birth tourism industry from China. For instance, we know that exists. And so at this point, what we're saying is, I would say hypothetically, but it's a real situation, where if they're saying, okay, here's a woman who's 6 months pregnant and she's applying for a 6-month visa.
Right.
The Trump administration is saying, we've got the right to go, no, you don't get to come here.
Right.
Because of what you're doing. And to me, that makes perfect sense.
It does make perfect sense. And to be clear, it's not just going to be, oh, you're a woman of childbearing age, we think you might be doing. This is going to be looking at like organizations. There are people that have come here to be part of this process to like help orchestrate this. So, I mean, they're going to be scrutinizing much more closely on those visa applications and being a lot more discriminating on that. And they can.
Okay, so let's talk about the swing, I guess the sweeping elements of what he's doing with this executive, I guess, orders. I guess technically there were two of them.
Mm-hmm.
But what is it that he's trying to do now that we've got in the wake of that ruling here? Is it just the birth tourism, or are there other aspects of this that he's looking at?
No, like I said, there's the two things.
Yeah.
The one non-exhaustively identifies certain categories of children of aliens who are not entitled to birthright citizenship consistent with historical exceptions.
Okay, what's that mean in people terms?
So basically, there are carve-outs to birthright citizenship. The easiest one to think of is diplomats.
Mhm.
Like diplomats who are here representing another country, their children, their children are not entitled to birthright citizenship. So this is basically just putting the exclamation point on that. That's already part of our
And that's
process.
never been really disputed.
That is not. It's actually going along with what the Supreme Court said and just saying, yes, and we're putting the presidential seal of approval on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're just clarifying, like, these are the people that clearly are exempted from that.
Yeah.
And then the second one delegates presidential authorities to the Secretary of State, and the Secretary of Homeland Security directs them to halt the practice of birth tourism. So in other words, they can enact different policies, regulations that are going to help scan for and weed out people who are attempting to take advantage of that system.
Mm-hmm.
So that neither one of those in any way goes against what the Supreme Court said.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to start by saying the Supreme Court, when they issue that ruling on the 14th Amendment, which a lot of people didn't like, that's the ruling that I thought was going to be issued. But I guess people don't like it. But they didn't say what the immigration policy should or shouldn't be. It was just about, if you're born in this country, this is how we interpret the 14th Amendment. What happens before that, that's a matter for Congress and the president.
Yeah. Stephen Miller gave some other examples of people that were going to be, kind of carved out in those exceptions. Alien enemies of the United States, so children of alien enemies.
Okay. What would that encompass?
I think that would be if somebody is from a country that has been designated an enemy or a group that has been designated like formally, then their children shouldn't be able to take advantage of birthright citizenship.
Is that subject to challenge under that Supreme Court ruling?
Anything is subject to challenge.
Well, yeah,
under the Supreme
but I
Court
mean,
ruling.
because like for instance, the diplomat one, that's pretty clear. I don't know that there'd be any controversy on that.
Is someone going to sue on behalf of the children of people who are a part of foreign terrorist
Yes.
organizations? Probably.
Yeah.
Yes. Are they going to win? Probably not. I mean, this is a legitimate basis for excluding that extension.
Mm-hmm.
If you've already designated the parent as a member of a foreign terrorist organization or an alien enemy country, it's going to be kind of hard to say that you don't have the right to say, well, your kids can't come and become citizens.
Yeah, become an anchor baby.
Right.
Basically. Because now, and the reason I asked that, and that may sound like a dumb question, maybe it is, I don't think it is.
No, it's not a dumb
But
question
it
at all.
comes down to is, because we're talking about the anchor baby thing, and somebody would say, but the whole question of that Supreme Court ruling was basically anchor babies, illegal aliens, and some of them came from hostile nations as well. And I know that Trump's executive order doesn't apply to anything retroactively. It's basically from this point forward, as the way I understand he was written it.
I haven't looked at the actual
Yeah.
verbiage, but I'm sure that that's probably the case. It's kind of hard to do things retroactively in most
Yeah.
cases.
Yeah. So in this case, basically, is this a matter of here's what we can do, and so we'll do that? And I'm sure now the diplomatic thing, I couldn't even imagine even the most fringe left would waste a lot of time or money on that. But the other stuff, they're going to argue, well, this kid, you just don't like the people from the Middle East, and like they're literally from Hamas, or what.
Right.
But they're like, well, that's the sins of the father, and that's not the kids. And the Supreme Court ruled, 14th Amendment says, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So if
I
it
think
applies
that's
to the illegal aliens, then it should apply to them.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if there are legal challenges to it. I also wouldn't be surprised if those fail.
Do you think that there might be a renewed push for even tighter immigration restrictions in the wake of that 14th? Because to me, that was the message that should have been received as, okay, 14th Amendment means this is what the Supreme Court says. This is how we recognize it now. But you can shut down more immigration. That's not what was addressed in that.
Well, we've already seen that. We've seen a number of Congress critters come forward with proposals to address specifically that. Now, will this Congress pass anything meaningful? No.
No, not at this point, no.
Which left-winger had the worst hot take of the week? Here are this week's contenders, and let us know who you think should be declared the worst. That's at 7:20.
Before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
My Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Everybody wants me to dance. Could you imagine FDR dancing?
On News Talk STL.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
The story behind the story. An American girl wins Olympic gold, but later is told she might never walk again.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Treasurer Vivek Malik. You know we can't do an interview without talking about one of your favorite subjects.
That is Show Me My Money. ShowMeMoney.com.
Exactly.
Yes.
Show me the money. All right, how much money are you holding and how much have you given back?
We are holding about $1.5 billion of
That's incredible.
money.
Wow.
And everybody should get on the ShowMeMoney.com and look up their name, and I say, come get your money. Indeed.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Ken Williams, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the Capistrami. You've got hot pastrami, melty Swiss cheese, crunchy coleslaw, and zesty Russian dressing. What else do you need? I love Capriati's, and you will too. On Manchester at McKnight and Rock Hill, and now in Creve Coeur on Olive, just 1 mile west of 270.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Looking for insurance you can truly trust? Since 1986, Bahr Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses across Missouri and Illinois. Owner Cindy Blanton doesn't just offer one quote. She shops all the top carriers like Progressive, Travelers, Safeco, and more to find you the best rates. Whether it's your home, auto, toys, or business, we've got you covered. Visit us at Mid-Rivers Mall in St. Peters or call 636-812-2001. Bahr Insurance Agency, the company that protects. The name you can trust.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. The 80s. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
History repeats itself. Try and you succeed. Never doubt that you're the one and you can have your dream. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. And nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Now, that's definitely Karate Kid.
It is.
That's
We
the
have
Karate-
established
yeah.
that one.
Yeah,
yes.
that's the Karate Kid montage right there. Yeah,
Very good. Good movie. I need to go watch that again.
See, I like this. Comeback song, fight song kind of thing. Because I like when you said that, I'm like, okay, this is going to be like cheese-tastic, but in a really good way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm a
So
sucker.
far, so good.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, 7:20 right now. I'm telling you guys, the worst of the week candidates this week, they're doozies.
I'm bracing myself.
And just so you know, Jerome and Susie don't hear these before I play them. So they're hearing them for the first time. Our friends at the Media Research Center, as you know, they put together the worst hot takes of the week. You tell me who you think was the worst. And, of course, you can go and vote on the MRC's X Twitter page as well. Shall we get right to it?
Sure.
Let's do it.
His diaper's always dirty. I think the guy's insane.
Oh, what fresh hell is this?
Got a teeny tiny penis.
That's disturbing, but is it the worst media quote of the week?
It was the worst.
Here's our contenders. Option number 1, Lawrence O'Donnell claims Congress questioning Fauci is Stalinist.
I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
And that led Rand Paul to turn his hearing room into the most disgraceful Stalinist tribunal the United States Senate has ever seen.
Option number 2, Rosie O'Donnell's voice takes us straight to Dante's Sixth Circle of Hell.
His diaper's always dirty. I think the guy's insane. Da-da-da-da-da-da. He ain't no stable genius, got a teeny tiny penis, and he doesn't have a brain.
And option number 3, D.L. Hughley goes mad for Mom Donnie, claiming he's putting Christians to shame.
How is this a campaign promise and this socialism?
Right.
You can say whatever you want to say, but this Muslim is putting Christians to shame. He is.
And they
I'm not a
don't like
religious
it.
man.
Clearly. Now you can vote for what you think is the worst. This poll is funded by our good friend James Jamero. And be sure to check out Newsbusters on Monday to find out which member of the media snagged the title for the MRC's Worst Media Quote of the Week.
I warned you. I warned you.
You did.
All right,
You
jump ball.
did.
Who wants this one first? Who had the worst? Susie, you going to go first?
Wow, that is stiff competition. And this week they are all, unique in their own way.
Yes,
They aren't similar. So you've got Lawrence O'Donnell the prig. Literally the dictionary definition.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to say no on that one just because it's just Lawrence O'Donnell being Lawrence O'Donnell. I
didn't even know he was still on the air. I'll be really honest.
Maybe he isn't. He's just talking to himself in a bathroom somewhere. We got a recording of it. I don't know. Rosie. Points for rhyming. I don't know. I guess that's
Wizard of Oz reference there.
yeah. And then I've already forgotten what was the third
D.L.
one.
Hughley?
Hughley is the worst. I'm not a religious person, but I'm going to say this Muslim is putting Christians to shame, not even understanding what the hell I'm talking about, and I'm going to say it with confidence. So I'm going to vote for D.L. Hughley.
All right, what do you think, Jerome?
Lawrence O'Donnell.
Okay.
So Rosie, I give her a little bit of cred because it was creative, at least. I mean, it was something we don't typically get, whatever. D.L. Hughley, just like you mentioned, he's saying something really stupid with a lot of confidence, but it wasn't particularly bad, in my opinion. There's very good reason that Fauci is having hearings right now. It's not a communist or Nazi or whatever hearing to discredit somebody that was just noble and heroic. Like, he actually, Fauci deserves the treatment he's getting right now. And to compare this to Stalinism is just ridiculous.
So you guys made both really good cases. My instinct was to say Rosie O'Donnell.
Really?
Just, first of all, it's like she's singing about body parts that she's already made it very clear she has no interest in.
That's the brain, right?
That's right, if that too. Yeah, for some, you got me on that one. I think the funny part with her is she's one of those who still really feels that I'm so relevant and I have an influence, not realizing you are the butt of jokes pretty much across the board.
Yeah, it's so junior high that it's like you're doing everything that you all accuse him of doing and being, and you're being even more juvenile in the process.
Yes, yeah, that's why I'm
okay.
Yeah, so we got 3 different votes here again, which again very very different. Any of them are legitimate contenders for the worst.
So Monty says that Rosie was cringeworthy as well as dumb. Filthy Goat said, I thought Rosie was singing about Bayuk.
Well, some of that would have been more applicable to Joe.
Yes.
I don't know. It's like I feel like the ladies, because that was Rosie on The View, right?
I don't remember where she did the thing, but where she
I feel like
did
she came back to The View this week or something, maybe.
So
it's like, a bunch of cackling hens getting around in a circle and like, we don't like him. I don't know. It's just, it is so very, exactly. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it. Good for you.
Yeah, so edgy. She referenced genitalia. She's so edgy. Jeez. All right, so you go to the MRC on X, Twitter, which we've already reposted.
I posted it to Rumble, Facebook, and X. Yes.
Excellent. So you can vote then on Monday. Find out who won or who lost, who lost the race, or who won and was
the worst of the worst.
Right. Exactly. All right. 7:26 here. All right. How closely did y'all cover the news this week? Okay. I've got a few multiple choice questions here.
You're asking me.
I know. I'm just saying. Let's everybody out there. So I'm going to ask the question. You can see if we can rapid fire answer them here. So how about this one? Multiple choice. Mitch McConnell has been released from A, a rehabilitation center, B, a hospital, or C, this mortal coil.
Are we talking about allegedly? I know the actual answer. At least that's the reported answer.
Feels like a trick question.
Yeah. I mean, the reported answer is A.
He was released from a rehab center.
Correct.
Yes,
he's now at home.
Okay. Let's see here. This one, really over the last week or so, I guess. Elon Musk announced that he's going to spend $100 million on A, the midterm elections, B, real estate acquisitions, C, just trying to feed all of his children around the world.
See, it's probably pretty close. What do you think, Jerome?
I'm going to go with real estate.
It's A.
It's A.
It is.
Yeah, this isn't fair
But
because
let's not discount C.
No. I mean, it's probably a pretty hefty grocery bill.
Well, I would have thought with how badly he got played during the presidential run that he would be done and putting all this money towards
No,
elections.
he's like, are you kidding? If we let those crazies get in charge, it's the end of all of us.
Yeah, so $100 million for voter turnout, and that's his thing here. Okay, so I think we have time for one more here. Okay, Secretary of HHS RFK Jr. announced that he is hosting a new. Okay, here are your choices: A, cooking show; B, podcast; C, a new Parasite.
So I need to let Jerome answer these first because unfortunately most of those I already know just because we've covered them.
Oh yeah, so I have access to Google. I'm not using that, but also you're the editor for Red State. So
correct. So we've actually written stories on all three of these items.
He seems like the kind of guy that would start a podcast, but I don't think there are many people that would want to sit through just because he's got that voice thing going on. I would watch a cooking show from RFK's. But you can't rule out the parasites. So I'm going to go with A this time.
You're in luck, Jerome, because you too can watch Real Food from RFK Jr.
Yay.
It's all about eating healthy, and it's supposed to, he's going to have like celebrity chefs on, and it's going to be like basically using ingredients that are readily available that are healthy.
The roadkill he hits in the
I think they're going to leave roadkill out of it, but it's going to be basically readily accessible, healthy groceries and how everyone can learn to eat healthier in a pretty simplified way.
And there is no confirmation that they're calling it delicacies with brainworm.
Yeah, I don't know if that would go over
Probably not. But yes,
think it
okay.
would.
So I think we did well on how well we tracked the news.
Well, and we affirmed that Red State is right on top of all of it.
That's right.
Okay,
exactly.
So now I have to start checking out Red State before Friday so I can actually.
Yeah, you should be checking it out every day.
Fair enough. All righty. You'll soon be one of Missouri's new congressmen, and at 7:35, we'll get a preview of what Chris Stigall hopes to accomplish in his first term.
From the NewsTalkSTL Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs towards the upper 80s, an increase in our humidity. A few isolated showers and storms possible later on this afternoon, this evening. For the most part, a lot of us remaining dry into Saturday, 90 degrees, partly sunny skies. It feels like temperature close to 100 degrees. Then into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, continue to remain into the triple digits for the feels like temperatures. Partly sunny skies into Sunday, maybe a spot shower or two possible. For the most part, dry. Monday, going to be mostly sunny. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit VincentsJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
So if someone offers to treat you to a nice steakhouse, no charge to you, I'm sure most of you would say yes, yes. Well, there's a steakhouse in South Florida with a unique concept, and you might refuse. The owner says, listen, this will be a 5-star experience. Classy, elegant. So why would you refuse to go? Or then again, maybe you wouldn't care. Yes, there is more to the story. The restaurant is in Hollywood, South Florida. Everyone gets the same steak menu. The price is discriminating. Men pay $250, women $150, a couple $200. But if someone's willing to pay it for you, would you go? Oh, yeah, there's that other part of the story. You would have to be dining nude, naked. The Hollywood, Florida city says this is lawful because the staff is fully clothed. Interested? Well, you're going to have to wait because this deal is only good the first Monday of every month. You just missed it. The next date would be September 7, Labor Day. Forget about rules, no shoes, no service. Everyone dines naked. Where do you put your credit card?
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
I'm proud to say that Wellington Environmental has been sponsoring Larry Connors USA for a dozen years. Wellington can help you with any hazardous issues at your home or office. But Wellington also protects our troops, our nation. Recently, Wellington has been disinfecting Army vehicles and equipment just back from overseas deployment, making sure they did not bring back disease or other contaminants. Wellington is also working on some classified jobs with Boeing and has for years. One hospital had issues with possibly contaminated water. Wellington is on the job. In addition to all these big jobs, Wellington can make sure there are no health hazards in your home. He's done it for me. So I'm more than glad to endorse Wellington Environmental. Check them out, environmentalcare.com, environmentalcare.com. Wellington Environmental, your world cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
Ronald Reagan once famously said, government is not the solution, government is the problem. When it comes to economic growth, government can be a roadblock. With red tape, regulations, and subsidies, government stifles entrepreneurship and also props up businesses that deserve to go under. Unlike government, free markets encourage risk-taking, freedom to succeed or fail. Governments shouldn't be picking winners and losers, the market should. Free markets benefit the business owner and the customer by encouraging competition. Free market enabled a young man named J.C. Hall, selling picture postcards in Kansas City, to turn his idea into Hallmark cards. In St. Louis, the free market made it possible for Adolphus Busch to turn his father-in-law's local beer into the world's largest brewery. A free market also means you get to send your kids to the school of your choice. Learn more about free markets at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Here's my problem.
Completely agree with your sentiments.
He talks about we're divided. Well, yeah, we are.
And we need to wake up as a country and realize what's going on.
101.9 and 94.1.
Number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. The 80s.
Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young.
Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where to be?
It's Flashback Friday.
The Mike Ferguson Show is one of my favorite programs. In addition to Larry Connors USA, catch my program at 6. Now, back to Mike.
I forgot about this Pat Benatar song.
Good song.
It's a great song.
She's
Good choice.
so good.
Great choice.
I just need to go listen to some more Pat Benatar.
I completely forgot about this song.
Yeah.
This song rocks.
Yeah, good. Whoever requested that, good choice.
That's a good Flashback Friday song right there. 7:36 right now. Okay, yes, there is still a midterm election in November, but in the deep red 6th district in Missouri, primary election's the big one, and it's a matter of Mr. Stigall goes to Congress. Now, there's a tradition in campaigns is you never assume and say that until actually the election, which I respect, and I don't think Chris is going to do that, but I'll say it. So soon-to-be Congressman-elect Chris Stigall joins us right now, not to put the superstitions or traditions in any danger
Way to
there,
go,
Chris,
Mike.
but thanks so much for being on the show. That was a big win. I mean, several candidates came down to you and one other, and that was a handy victory, basically, that you won several points. I think a lot of people figured you were the favorite on this, but you won by more than what I think a lot of people did. So what was it that you think the 6th district voters were saying, not to disparage any other candidate, but when they said, okay, Chris, you're going to go to Washington and here's what we want you to do? What was it that resonated when you were campaigning or are campaigning that the 6th district wants to be taken as a priority to Washington, D.C.?
Well, hey, good morning, guys, and thanks for having me on. And Mike, now I feel like I've got to not wash my jersey or the dress shirt or whatever for the next 3 months until we get there. You've just jinxed it or something. But no, anyway, guys, thank you. Look, the thing about this primary was 5 people in it. Family food fights are never comfortable. Sam Graves has been in this seat for 26 years. So when Republicans get together and have to decide who the next candidate's going to be, their next nominee, those are never fun. And so I really respect the 4 other guys that I ran alongside. They're good men: Nathaniel Schultz, Cody Oshel, Jim Ingram, and Nathan Willett. And they made me a better candidate. My wife said often to me, you should have to experience primaries. You should have to go through it. You shouldn't just walk into anything. And, endorsements don't mean anything. You've got to go out and earn votes. And so your question, why ultimately did voters choose me? I hope it's because after 25 years of talking about the issues behind a microphone, I said it's just important that we know what time it is. We have to know what the American left's agenda is about. They're deadly serious about it. They don't like the country as founded. And I think you need people that can define that easily, call it out, and aren't afraid to joust with them in a succinct way. I mean, in 2026, you got to boil everything down to a minute or less. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's important right now that we have great communicators on the issues we care about.
Good morning, Chris. This is Susie Moore. I am like you. I don't want to jinx anything, so I don't want to ask you to look past November. Obviously, you have to win that election as well. But assuming you do, I have a 2-part question for you. First, do you know all of the other members of the Missouri congressional delegation? Is there going to be somebody new to you, or you already are acquainted with them? And then second, do you know yet what sort of orientation process they put you through, assuming you do win in November?
I think it's heavy hazing. I think that,
I'm hoping so. That would only be appropriate.
No, you know what? I'm very, very fortunate in that Mark Alford, the congressman from the 4th Congressional District, is a dear friend of mine of 30 years. And we met years ago when he was a news anchor in Kansas City, and I was a talk show host. And so I've watched him from a distance. And in fact, just this morning, he texted and said, "How can I help?" It's a great comfort. Representative Onder, Representative Burleson, Representative Smith, I know those gentlemen well, and they have all reached out to say they want to help or how can I help, and I'm eager to learn from them. There's a lot I don't know. You got to find the bathroom and where the light switches are, and all of that stuff. I get that. But what I did tell House leadership is if we're fortunate enough to get there, I'd very much like to start messaging. I mean, that's the thing I know I can do. I don't understand all the processes and procedures and how the sausage is made and all of that stuff. You got a lot to do in terms of physical orientation, but one thing I do understand are the issues. And I told the team of House Republicans, if I can be helpful in communicating, that's what I'd love to start doing as soon as they'd like me.
All right, we're visiting Chris Stigall, now the Republican nominee for Congress in Missouri's 6th District. We've heard a lot about agriculture. Senator Josh Hawley talking a lot about that right now. Talk about USDA operations moving into the heartland as well. Talking about everything from governmental support to tariffs and all that sort of thing. You got a lot of farmers in your district, Chris. So when you go into D.C., one, is the Agriculture Committee going to be something you're going to be pushing for? And 2, what needs to be done differently regarding farming and agriculture policy in the U.S.?
When we get there after this election in November, the first thing I told voters in Missouri 6, as I've crisscrossed it and talked with a whole lot of farmers, is the Agriculture Committee is the first item on my agenda. I got to get there. There is no Missouri member on it at present, which is kind of hard to believe, and that is the number one industry in all of Missouri, never mind North Missouri in the 6th district. So, yeah, that's where I want to be first. And then when you talk about things that we've got to do, the Farm Bill is one. Farmers just want a little certainty. That's in a very uncertain thing that no business is quite like but agriculture. They don't control their input costs. They don't control what they get on the backside of their sale. The one thing they'd just like to know is stuff like crop insurance, the stuff they can count on so that they can at least rest assured that if there are troubles, somebody's got their back. That Farm Bill hasn't passed since 2018. It's gummed up in the Senate again, as I understand it. I would love to figure out, and I know this has been something many have talked about, but I would love to figure out why it's so gummed up with a bunch of other legislative priorities that have really nothing to do with our farmers and producers. I'd love to just streamline the process. So again, those that are doing the hard work of farming have just a little bit of certainty. We've got to tackle manufacturing our fertilizer domestically. The costs of that are outrageous, and why we're not producing more of it here is frustrating. And then naturally fuel and energy costs through the roof. We're also looking at right to repair issues, farm equipment. It's getting less and less and less the people that are making it, and more a stronghold on farmers and where they've got to go to get it repaired. We've got to make sure that we're not engaged in non-competitive practices that are choking farmers economically. So there's plenty to do to just give them some kind of certainty.
Okay, one quick note, because I know Susie's got a question. The right to repair that you brought up, people need to look into that more. There's the agriculture application, but there's everything like to your personal electronics. And that's one of the areas where there is a left-right crossover regarding the right to repair thing. So I would recommend people Google search right to repair. A little bit wonky, but it actually affects almost everybody directly. So I'm glad you brought that up, Chris.
Yeah, it's a huge deal because, you buy $1 million combine, you'd think the very least that the manufacturer could do is let you alone to have it fixed the way you'd like. But no, instead you got to sign a hefty contract or deal only exclusively with the maker of that combine annually for a software upgrade or whatever. That seems a little heavy-handed to me, so I'm glad the Trump administration is investigating it.
Chris, you mentioned how key messaging is, and I think we see that over and over again. For some reason, the left does messaging way better than the right does. And you take issues like we just saw the ballot issues, the constitutional amendment issues here in Missouri, 4 and 5, that were key issues, key agenda items for the right, and yet somehow the messaging just didn't get done right. How do you see incorporating your background, your skills in that regard, in incorporating that into leading as a member of Congress?
Amendment 4 is the perfect example, Susie. I'm glad you asked. When people would come to me on the campaign trail, now again, I'm running as a federal candidate. I don't have anything to do with what's coming out of Jefferson City or amending the Missouri Constitution, but people ask me as a Missouri voter, how do you feel about these amendments? And on Amendment 4, I said, very simply, Democrats' only way of impacting the future of Missouri is to get 100,000 college kids on a campus to sign a petition, slap it on a ballot, and get St. Louis County and Jackson County to vote yes. And every county in Missouri now has to live with that. Now, that's nuts, don't you think? And everyone would say, well, yes, that's nuts. And I'd say that's why Amendment 4 is so important. Everybody has to have buy-in. All congressional districts have to have buy-in before we amend our Constitution in the future. Don't you think that makes sense? And everybody said, yes. Every time I explained it that way, people understood it and shared my point of view. But the left is very good at saying, no on 4, no on 5, you should have freedom to speak. And it's like, well, yeah, I'd like freedom to speak. and they distill everything down to this mythical lie that your voice will no longer be heard if you vote yes on Amendment 4. It's just the opposite, actually. Amendment 4 stops mob rule from telling every county in Missouri the way they're going to do their business and the things they're going to allow and the way we're going to amend the Constitution. I know how to distill things down simply, like Rush used to say about the left. I know them like every square inch of my glorious naked body. I know these people, and I know what they say. And so I know how to do a little jujitsu that way.
We're visiting with Chris Stigall. Just got a minute or so left here. Chris, okay, you mentioned, for instance, the energy cost, and obviously you can't separate a lot of that out from what's happening in Iran right now. There's essentially no congressional oversight of what's happening with the war in Iran, the on-again war. What do you want to see? What do you want to see from here on out regarding what the U.S. is doing? And at some point, does Congress need to reassert its constitutional oversight of war, frankly?
Yeah, what can't go on is this on again, off again, light switch, Strait of Hormuz thing. I can't tell you until I get there what specifically the intel is and what the president knows. I don't know. I trust this president. I trust Marco Rubio and the Defense Department under Pete Hegseth. They're watching it. I trust their judgment on this thing. But it seems to me that if the Iranian regime continues to stay in control, and it appears that they will, we need options and alternatives, particularly when it comes to energy. And it's got to be more than the straight opening and closing every other day that Iran gets a bee in their bonnet. And so my hope is we're finding alternatives quickly to get energy to market, domestically, of course, but I understand that some of their neighbors are now actively talking about other ways to get oil out of the Middle East besides through the Strait. I think that's what the White House is doing, but it's just right now we're in this flux, this interim time where Iran holds the keys to that darn strait. And will Congress have to get involved in figuring out alternatives if this on again, off again thing doesn't quit? Certainly we will.
All right, Chris Stigall, the GOP nominee, to be accurate here, for Congress in the heavily, heavily Republican 6th District. I'll put it that way. And then, Chris, obviously you still got a little bit of a campaign left for the midterms. Website, social media, we've already retweeted you, but people want to get in touch, especially those. This is like right there in the 94.1 territory of News Talk STL. Hopefully we'll have a regular conversation with you here on the show.
I'd love it. StigallforCongress.com. Mike, Susie, I would love to be here as often as you'll have me, and I look forward to many, many conversations as we head to November.
All right, we'll talk to you again soon, Chris. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Chris. You too. We appreciate all of you who are tuning in and listening to us on the radio right now and watching us on the live streams. We love having you here with us, but we also recognize that you can't always be sitting at your computer, at your TV, or next to your radio. Maybe maybe you're not in your car, but you're traveling and you want to be listening to us and you want to be keeping up with what we're doing. Well, there's a perfect way for you to do it, and it's free. All you have to do is download the News Talk STL app, and you can listen to us anywhere, anytime.
Everybody's out there crying to be heard, and I got no fire.
Mike Ferguson in the morning
They were drinking water out of the toilet.
on News Talk STL.
Bengal's restaurant offers an inviting atmosphere, neighborly service, and a vibrant happy hour scene, all in the heart of Warson Woods. From their kitchen to your plates, beloved comfort favorites like chicken parmesan and lasagna to steakhouse-style classics. Slide up to the vintage bar or hit the patio for happy hour specials every Tuesday through Friday. Bengal's Restaurant and Bar, 10017 Manchester Road. Check out the menu and reserve a table online at bengalsrestaurant.com.
State Freedom Caucus Unfiltered, Sunday nights at 7 on News Talk STL. Hear all the behind-the-scenes stories about what the State Freedom Caucus is doing across the country, directly from the legislators and the people that are doing it. State Freedom Caucus Unfiltered, this Sunday night at 7 with your host, Tim Jones. State Freedom Caucus Unfiltered, now Sunday nights at 7 on News Talk STL.
JC's Wayback Machine.
He's played the president's chief of staff, and a couple of his sons have been in lots of movies and TV shows. Martin Sheen is this week's A-List Interview of the Week. Plus, you'll hear Tom Petty's demo for Into the Great Wide Open and some acoustic stuff from Jeff Lynne. All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9. On News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Bunny Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Bunny Radio every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeBunnyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Let's get back to all this madcap mayhem with Mike Ferguson in the morning. But don't forget, stick around for Jones and Arps every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m.
Yeah, say we're going to have comeback songs. There better be something from Rocky.
I was to say, that's so quintessentially Rocky 80s movie music.
And every one of the Rockies 1 through 4 had that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess 5. Rocky 5 was awful. But this was from 4.
Which I must confess I never saw.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Okay, so
it's great.
So I don't want to spoil anything, but he beats the Ruski.
Yeah, I'm aware. It was one of those things where I was aware of the movie. I just don't think I ever watched it all the way through. It's possible I did. It's just like after a while they kind of all started blending together.
Yeah, I mean the first 4 all were very creative in their own way.
Yeah.
5 was creative. It just wasn't great.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Now, I will say the first Creed movie I thought was I thought that was good. Yeah, not a lot of people did because it was much lower budget. And it was actually, Stallone didn't have much to do with it. He had to be talked into showing up in it. But I actually thought Creed was pretty good. And because I was like hesitant, I'm like, I don't know if I like this. They messing with one of my favorite franchises. But the first Creed, I haven't seen the one after that, but the first Creed was actually pretty good, I thought. Have you seen the other Creed?
I haven't seen any.
No, the first one clearly much lower budget, but I thought it was pretty good.
I saw Rocky 1. I saw Rocky 4.
Okay. 2 and 3 are excellent. I think Rocky 2 may be the best of all of them.
Oh.
I think I'm franchise fickle.
Yeah.
Like, I will grant you, like, I'll go see like a couple of movies in a series, but after like 2 or 3 of them, then I'm kind of like, well, yeah, we've done that. And I know they change it up.
Yeah, but right, because but the franchises back then are different than the ones now. Because like right now they're on Fast and Furious, what, 168 or something like that?
Yeah,
I mean, it might as well be a TV episode.
Right. And I agree. Yeah. I think my brain just kind of starts losing interest. The one exception to that was Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
So that franchise kept me through the full 9, even though the ones in the middle weren't very good. Yeah. But yeah, I think I just kind of tune out.
You can overdo them.
You can.
You can totally overdo them.
And you're only talking about the first 6 Star Wars movies, not the Disney ones, right?
No, I'm talking about all 9 Star Wars. All 3 of the 3 of the trilogy.
Only 6 Star Wars?
No, I'm talking about all 9.
No.
That kept me through the 9. That's the only franchise who has.
We need Gabe to have a verdict on this. So, yeah.
I'm not saying the later ones were like good quality, and I'm not a fan of Disney and what they've done to it. I'm just saying, like, I was still engaged enough that I wanted to see those movies.
Yeah. Now, Rocky, the first Rocky, that a lot of people forget that was like 1976 or 1977 or something like that.
Some of us old folks remember.
Yeah, and it won Oscars. It's really a well-written movie.
It is
really a well-written movie.
It is.
And 2 and 3 I thought were really good. 4 was just like this was the Reagan era of USA Cold War with USSR.
Yeah.
And it just capitalized on that. It was cheesy, but, entertaining. It was entertaining. Okay, we got just a couple minutes here. Okay, U-City's government withstands a long-running cyber attack. That's in the news dump. Let's go ahead and get started. 7:55. Let's do a news dump.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by STL FenceWorks.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
University City's government weathers a long-running cyber attack. City officials say the attack started on June 19th, and it targeted their online bill payment process and online services that include access to some records and some of the permit process services as well. In a statement to the media, City Manager Brooke Sharp says no personal information was compromised during the attack, although it did disrupt some city services at times. There's no word yet on who is responsible for the attack. There is an investigation into that. Could have been literally from anywhere in the world, but they say that they've contained it. We tend to think of these attacks as like one time, let's see what we can get. We don't think of it as weeks-long things. So if you city officials are right, and there was no compromised personal information from anybody, congratulations. That's remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What else is going on here? Senator Mitch McConnell allegedly remains alive. The 84-year-old senator's office released a statement saying he's been released from the hospital. He is doing physical therapy from home. His office says that he suffered a fall in mid-June and then developed pneumonia while in the hospital. He is not running for re-election, as I'm sure most of you all know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see here. What else is going on? We were just talking about the birthright citizenship thing. Stephen Miller was asked about that. He was talking to reporters in the White House here, and, of course, the president was talking about that as well. And I can say a few more words until I find the actual clip on my screen here, which is
not
gone
stalling.
In the wrong
He's
place.
just telling you more
not
about
stalling.
this, so
I'm
you
just
have the
really
proper framing
filling
for it
in.
and understand exactly
that's
what we're talking about.
Precisely what
right?
I'm doing. Here's what Stephen Miller had to say.
No one in the world is any more allowed to obtain a visa for this fraudulent purpose.
And that's referring to President Trump's executive orders regarding birthright citizenship, and it had nothing to do with me stalling. That was an amazingly smooth cover. That
Completely,
I just did
100%.
I am a trained professional.
Yeah,
Don't
we can
try
tell.
this
We
at
can
home.
tell.
I'm just saying. Okay, Cardinals are back at home, starting a series against the Rockies tonight. At last check, Kyle Leahy expected to start on the mound for the Redbirds. First pitch is at 7:05. This one is going to be free and available over the air. Our friends at Channel 4 have this game.
If you love your pet, which I know you do, then they deserve the excellent treatment and care they'll receive at Pacific Animal Hospital in Pacific, Missouri, a full-service veterinarian facility. Originally built and grown by my dad, Dr. Bill Jones, a new generation of wonderful veterinarians and staff at Pacific continue to provide outstanding medical, surgical, dental, boarding, and grooming services for your favorite furry friends. Our family entrusts the care of our pets only to the experienced docs and staff at Pacific Animal Hospital. You should too. Call them today, 636-257-2100, 24/7 at PacificVets.com, PacificVets.com.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. Amit Thomason. The robust American job market was anything but robust in July. The Labor Department reports employers unexpectedly cut 23,000 positions. The unemployment rate slipped to 4.1% last month as people left the job market. The fines imposed on Facebook and Instagram's parent Meta just keep piling up. The latest one, a $546 million penalty issued by a judge in New Mexico who found that Meta had failed to protect young people on its platforms. Meta begs to differ, says it will appeal. charged with starting one of the devastating Spokane wildfires. Police say the suspect has confessed.
Aaron Farinacci is being charged with first-degree arson for allegedly sparking the Old Trails fire in Spokane. County Detective Michael Drapeau says Farinacci confessed to the crime and planned it for weeks. According to court documents, he looked up the work of a serial arsonist and purchased items to make an incendiary device. Police say Farinacci told them he knew it was going to get bad, but claimed he didn't intend it to grow as much as it did.
They were kind of bent over and looked like they were doing something towards the tree line.
Resident Paul Child is credited with leading police to the suspect after spotting a man standing by some railroad tracks and acting suspicious.
My daughter was sitting on the porch out there, and she says there's a fire.
I'm Jennifer King.
Ukrainian long-range drones have hit a warehouse in the Ural Mountains belonging to Russia's largest online retailer, the site of the attack, more than 1,200 miles from the border. Senator Lisa Murkowski has joined fellow GOP Senator Susan Collins in coming out against Attorney General nominee Todd Blanche. Has to do with President Trump's proposed weaponization fund, which Blanche has already pledged to shelve. On Wall Street, ahead of the opening bell this morning, Dow futures are up 173 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs towards the upper 80s, an increase in our humidity. A few isolated showers and storms possible later on this afternoon, this evening. For the most part, a lot of us remaining dry into Saturday, 90 degrees, partly sunny skies. It feels like temperature close to 100 degrees. Then into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, continue to remain into the triple digits for the feels like temperatures. Partly sunny skies into Sunday, maybe a spot shower or two possible. For the most part, dry. Monday, going to be mostly sunny. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stigall, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stigall financial advisor at stigall.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, Jamie Ullman here for Window World. Did you know that Window World offers a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor? They are one of the only 2 replacement windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Window World St. Louis has been owned and operated by a group of born and raised St. Louis residents for more than 23 years, and now Window World is offering 36 months same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today, 800-GET-WINDOWS for a free in-home, no-pressure estimate. That's Window World at 800-GET-WINDOWS.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here, your financial friend with Serenity Wealth Management. Tune in this Sunday for the Serenity Wealth Now show. This week, we've got special guests. Megan and Lisa, my friends with the Avalon Park Independent Community, are coming in to share some exciting news about the neighborhoods they're bringing right here to the St. Louis Marketplace. So tune in, check it out right here on News Talk STL, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. or on Serenity Wealth Now social media outlets. We'll see you then.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper, Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
After the results of the amendments on Election Day, I need a psychiatrist. Well, I'll be darned. We happen to have one coming on. Dr. Carol Lieberman, America's Psychiatrist, Thursday at 11:25.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Boo! Relax, nerd.
Susie Moore.
And that would be a good time to respond with some applause.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
That's a banana republic without the banana.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
I try to do this on Fridays. There's a lot of news stories that we see that come across, the wires. They get drowned out by other stuff.
Yeah.
So here's some news stories that didn't involve politics or elections or wars or anything like that. I just thought to be fully informed, let's do well-rounded look at some of the other news. So the rest of the week's news here, okay? How about this? By the way, it's 8:06 right now. Let's see here. A 39-year-old man in Minnesota didn't like those kids on his lawn.
Those pesky kids.
Here's what was happening is that he lived in area. His name's Kyle Steffen, and he got really, really frustrated because the kids were using his property as a shortcut on their bikes, ruining his lawn.
Oh, no.
You know, they doing the ruts on there, killing the grass. You know, you do that enough. He kept telling them, stop, you're killing my, and they just kept doing it.
They were doing them donuts on the big trikes?
Yeah, even just going through, you know, wherever it was that they were to get from point A to point B, they weren't going around. They were killing the grass. And I was like, that's frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing, though, is he had a solution to this, but he ended up getting him arrested.
As typical Kyle fashion, their solutions typically end him in cuffs.
He made a homemade spike strip with nails sticking up off like a piece of leather, and so he was hoping the kids would ride over a spike strip and deflate their tires and mess up their bikes. Now, he actually didn't get any of the bikes, but they found out that he had these spike strips on, and he got arrested for having this on his property to keep the kids from doing his lawn bad. And so this is a whole new level of get off my lawn. But he ended up getting actually arrested. The police, one of the mothers, of course, called police to report that he was yelling at their kids. And when they showed up, they saw a long piece of thick plastic set in the lawn with 43-inch sharp screws sticking up from the plastic. And then officers noticed that there were tire tracks from the bikes in his yard. And it appeared the neighborhood kids were just using that shortcut, going to a park. And so he admitted that he put the device there to keep the kids off the lawn, and they ended up arresting him for doing that. And my question is, why? It's his property.
So the Home Alone movies were great. That being said, multiple felonies were committed by the little Kevin kid.
Yeah.
People don't seem to realize this. It is illegal for you to booby trap your own property.
I did not know that.
It's very illegal.
Yeah. So, like on this here, I thought, I mean, if a kid got hurt, I could see a civil lawsuit or something. But I'm like, should you have the right to do that?
Should you? Absolutely. I believe that if you wanted to build tiger traps in your front yard, you should be free to do that. That being said, according to the law, yes, I did look it up. Don't ask why. It is very much illegal for you to set any sort of booby traps. I mean, even if you lived in like a wooded area, I think you still need to get permits for like bear traps and stuff.
Well, yeah, because that's a hunting thing. That's
but essentially that's
thing,
essentially what you're doing here would be akin to that. Little tiny small animal traps don't really constitute, but anything that could be used to potentially accidentally hurt somebody or intentionally hurt somebody. And in this case, even if you didn't mean to harm the Utes, very much harm could have came if they popped one person's tire gets popped, the person behind him crashes into it. Next thing you know, he's impaled.
Or they land, yeah. And so, for instance, there's a comment on Rumble. Same here in West County, Mike. I had a kid doing lawn jobs on my yard. Called the cops, asked them if I could do that. They said I'd get arrested. Filthy Goat on Rumble says it's a total
move.
Let's just say jerk move. But I have to believe that you're well within your rights to put a spike strip anywhere on your own property if you want. Legally, apparently not.
Nope. Like I said, I support your right to do that. I believe that you should be able to do that. In pretty much everywhere in the United States, it is completely illegal to do anything to rig any. I mean, you can't even have like a trap door like in the old movies, like the Scooby-Doo where nope, you can't have any booby traps on your any intentional booby traps on your property.
So somebody else committing some sort of misdemeanor or some sort of offense doesn't, in the eyes of the law, justify. I mean, because you would think you could go, well, if they weren't trespassing on my property after being told not to, then they wouldn't have to worry about their tires getting popped. But the law is like, yeah, but you can't put spikes.
Well, yeah, and I mean, to that same extent, though, wouldn't it have been probably just as easy to make like a makeshift fence perimeter that they
that fencing would have been the way to go.
Yeah,
which
I
was
mean,
more expensive, but yeah.
Well, you could get a couple posts and just get like some wires, but yeah, even if you wanted to do like a paint can swung from the front door in case somebody breaks into your house, you can't do that. That's illegal.
Interesting stuff here. Okay, here's another one. We're now getting some of the data, from birth rates and all this sort of thing from 2025. And I saw this story at the Huffington Post. Yes, I look at it so you don't have to. And they highlighted some of the most unusual baby names from 2025, and this is in the United States.
Ooh.
Okay, some of the weirdest names. These are actual real names, as in on birth certificates.
Okay.
Okay? Some of the most unusual names from last year. For girls, Tsunami.
Tsunami.
Somebody named their daughter Tsunami.
Is it spelled correctly?
Yeah.
So it's not like S-U-E, Nami?
No. It's they spelled it correctly. And I'm guessing if it popped up, then there was probably more than one of these. Maybelline. Somebody named their little girl Maybelline.
Well, that's like an actual name, though, isn't it?
That's a makeup company.
But I could have swore Maybelline was just like an old-timey
It
pioneer
does. It sounds
days,
like it could be.
like a Little Home on the Prairie, yeah.
Somebody actually named their little infant girl Infant Girl. All one word, Infant Girl.
I don't know why.
Yeah. I think you're going to like this next one, though. Somebody named their daughter Beretta.
Yes.
Yeah, I
That's
figured
a
you'd
good
like
name.
that. Do you have a daughter we don't know about that you named Beretta?
This is how I'm making my announcement to the world.
There you go. Okay, so for boys, Howdy. Somebody named their son Howdy.
Howdy.
Somebody named their son Papa.
Papa.
Yeah. Somebody named their son Gator.
Okay, that's a pretty cool name, though.
Somebody named their son, I am not making this up, Demon.
Not Damien?
No, Demon.
You're going to have some explaining to do for that one.
Yeah. So some other names that were in there for girls. Let's see here. Aloe.
I have met somebody named Aloe before.
Aloe, yeah, really. Luxury. Luxury.
Yep.
That's their name.
I've met at Hennessy before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, inner city schools.
Ethereal. Earth. Yeah.
Huh.
Linen.
Lenin?
Linen. Linen.
Oh, like the cloth.
Like the cloth. And for some boys, Matrix, Decree, Chaos.
Okay, that one's... They already knew what kind of kid they were having.
Oh. Like, we know the rest of the family. We know what's coming here.
I did see somebody... it was KMNOP. And it was pronounced Noel.
Oh, for God.
Because JKL, there was Noel.
Okay, so I've just got a couple minutes. Let me just do some headlines here, okay? Obviously, we've heard a lot about in the last week or so the Democratic U.S. Senate candidate from Maine, Troy Jackson. Turns out he's got 2 kids with his life partner who is his second cousin. Remember, we talked about that. So, I mean, you know what?
Why?
Voters like politicians who are really into their family. I mean, you know what?
He's a real family guy.
We're just saying here. Anthony Fauci in his diaries, we're learning now that he was writing in his diary that he once left Julia Roberts starstruck. He was very proud of that. Now, what he left out is that he didn't mention that she thought he was Yoda. Okay, what do we have here? President Trump's approval rating is right around 30% right now. Not uncommon for second-term presidents and midterm. But to put that in perspective, iceberg lettuce from Taylor Farms is at 35%. Just saying. Let's see here. U.S. is under a heat dome, or the heat dome was kind of, so the heat dome is something that lingers on to make our life hell no matter how much we want it to go away. So kind of like Hakeem Jeffries and Mitch McConnell. Iran may be behind those cyber attacks on the U.S. Utilities. Minnesota, Michigan, we were talking about that, attacking water supplies. So it's something to keep in mind if you turn your faucet on and all you hear is death to America. May have come from there. Okay. Domino's released an ice cream.
Why?
Yeah, no, I don't know why, but they did. That's just true. They did. So you can actually get your ice cream from Domino's delivered, unless, of course, the delivery takes too long. Then they released a milkshake.
You're not reading just Babylon Bee articles, are you?
No, this stuff actually happened here. Okay, let's see here. What else do we have? In an interview, Martha Stewart says that she's never going to get plastic surgery because she thinks that's tacky.
Not a good thing?
No, she doesn't think it's a good thing. But then again, she also worries that it could ruin some of her prison tattoos as well.
Don't try to make me stop, no inspiration. You have a soul so dark, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war.
Mike Ferguson in the morning
I have to tell my kids that I'm a rock star now.
on News Talk STL.
At Body of Health, we're a small but mighty family operation with big ambitions for your health. I'm Helene Tobler, and I'm jazzed about how our MRI-grade body composition analyzer is putting personalized health and wellness on steroids. It helps me and Dr. Tobler, that's my husband, refine the advice we give to help you feel better and live longer. Body of Health, trusted, discerning, affordable health care the way it ought to be. Learn more at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Hi, this is St. Louis County Councilman Mark Harder reminding you to check out my new show this weekend.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
That's me. Every Sunday evening at 5, we will explore with you behind-the-scenes stories and information that you won't hear anywhere else. Plus, we talk to decision makers and influencers that have impact on what's going on in St. Louis County and beyond.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
I'll talk to you Sunday night at 5, only on News Talk STL.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colony.
Sweet. I'll bring my 500 cousins. This'll be the biggest ant rager of the summer.
Let's party! Wait, what's that sound? Oh, no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 636-486-7888.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
News Talk STL.
First thing in the morning and pretty much all day.
Live and local. 1019 and 94.1. News Talk STL. The 80s.
Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young.
Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where the beat?
It's Flashback Friday.
Never surrender. Keep your dreams alive. Never surrender. Hold your head up
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
These comeback songs have been funny. The fight comeback songs, because there's a certain cheesy factor, you know. Now, there were several songs called Never Surrender. Now, this is, it sounds almost like Triumph.
Very good.
Is that Triumph?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the song, but I'm like, that sounds like Triumph to me.
Never Surrender by Triumph.
Yeah.
Canadian band, 1982.
Very good band, actually.
They apparently won quite a few awards for the music, and then they had a big fight and they just disappeared.
They did come back this past summer and did a tour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were actually at Riverport a few months ago. But yeah, that's
this one was requested more than I was expecting.
Very distinct, Triumph, because I think their biggest hit is one called Magic Power, which is a great song.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, it's a great one. Yeah, Triumph there. All right, these are fun because we got a few more of these here. By the way, I've got the week's, kind of a look back of the week in news and sound bites here in just a second. There were a couple of these news stories that I actually forgot to mention. I just kind of feel like I need to do that real quick. Today, because we have the days of the week that Susie does. Now, I think she mentioned this. Today's National Water Balloon Day.
Oh,
I think she did mention that on Monday. So, by the way, speaking of water balloons, whatever happened to Christy Nome's husband's chest?
Wow.
Oh, sorry. I shouldn't have done that. Okay.
Wow. Okay. I don't have anything really to
and then I saw this pop up on 2 or 3 different news sites. A steakhouse in Florida is offering nude dining the first Monday of every month. Did you see this?
Larry Connors was talking about that.
Yeah, nude dining. But you have to, it's like hundreds of dollars to get a reservation to do the nude dining. If you're a single man, it's like more than if you're a single woman, and couples, it's a certain amount. So first, that's their marketing. First Monday of every month, nude dining. The marketing on the first Tuesday of every month is a guarantee of a freshly steam clean chair that you've got. Okay, so all right, I want to do the kind of what the week sounded like in the news here, but after that, we noticed a trend. And at 8:35, we had a really interesting conversation with St. Charles County Director of Elections, Kurt Bahr. Of course, election integrity and accuracy, and that was a big part of not just his race, but a lot of these. And so there's an event happening in about 40 minutes in St. Charles County. If you want to see how they're going to do the audits and the hand counts, you can actually do that. So we're gonna go back to that conversation right around 8:35. But we did notice both he and Secretary of State Denny Hoskins noticed there was a big uptick in nonpartisan voting. Mm-hmm. So people who showed up and like, I want to vote on the amendments, but I don't give a crap about the Democrats or the Republicans, local or statewide or anything. I'm curious what people think about that. But when you look at the news, not just around the area, but around the country, another really eventful one. So here's what the news sounded like this week right here on News Talk STL.
Do I believe we're going to have to go in and bomb the hell out of him? Probably, because I don't, unless there's a regime change.
Will Fauci ever be held accountable for what he did to the American people, how he repeatedly lied, how he imposed pain and suffering on Americans beyond all belief, especially to our young people? Will he be held responsible for any of that? I doubt it.
The Rittner School District is taking a stand to protect its families from ICE.
I was disappointed with Jeanine Pirro, really disappointed with Jeanine Pirro. She folded like an umbrella.
Hey, Cardinal fans, Lars Newpart here. It's an emotional time for me. I just want to thank you guys for everything.
At issue is not the number of signatures turned into the challenge, the new congressional map, but the fact that the referendum itself is null and void by virtue of the fact that it is unconstitutional.
Look, I think Missourians are generally conservative. I just think Amendment 4 and 5 failed the KISS principle, and that is keep it simple, stupid.
So I want the citizens of St. Louis County to understand something that gets lost in these conversations. This is not a spending problem. This is a revenue problem. This is a revenue crisis.
Let's find ways to cut spending. And let's look very closely at what are we spending our money on, how are we spending it, and what can we do without.
I'd rather make a deal because I don't want to kill people.
He already had that auto pen pardon. He has immunity. You can't come in and take the fifth. He took it so many times, I started calling him Dr. Fifth. It is an absolute joke. This guy needs to be charged. We sent over a referral today to the Department of Justice. He can spend a year in prison for contempt of Congress. I hope they go after him hard.
My guess is it's probably going to be another week or two before we get some sort of indication from the Department of Justice as to what they're going to do, if anything, with the Fauci stuff. And, of course, in the next week, I would not be surprised if we see more states jump into looking at investigations of Anthony Fauci at a state level. We're already seeing a few of those right now.
Yeah, because when presidential pardons only apply to federal level things,
Right.
they don't apply to state level things and vice versa.
Right, precisely. So this is going to be – now, Susie made a really interesting point, is that when you've got, Florida and some of the other states, Republican attorneys general saying, we're going to start subpoena stuff. We're going to start doing investigations. If you can't get him at the federal level, we may be able to get him at the state level. And Susie pointed out, like, well, is that thinking far enough ahead? I mean, does that kind of justify him invoking the Fifth Amendment? Because anything that he would have said there, even if he was talking about, yeah, I did that back then. I even if he answered everything truthfully this time, which I don't think he's capable of. But then all of a sudden, do you just hand over evidence to state attorneys general in state courts? So the Fifth Amendment protects him on that. So are we not looking ahead enough moves on the chessboard by saying, well, the feds can't get him, the states go after him then? But I want somebody to go after him. That's why I think the DOJ is the best place. Yeah, and
This is where having a lawyer brain would be helpful right now, because conceptually, I mean, that does make a lot of sense to he brought a whole legal team with him. I think he had several lawyers that were in that room with him, one of which I think got kicked out, but
and deservedly so.
But again, because the issue was he had already been given a federal pardon, I wonder if that changes his ability to plead fifth to protect himself from state level stuff.
Well, that's probably one of the reasons he did.
Yeah, but I mean, so if they were to find him in contempt for that, then they could force him to incriminate himself potentially at the state level?
I don't know where this is going to go. I mean,
I
I
assume just
appreciate
throw
the
in-
effort. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate the effort. I just don't know where it's going to go.
Just throw him in jail just to be safe. At this point, just get it over with.
Okay, so 8:35. Kurt Bahr was here just a little bit ago. The director of elections, St. Charles County. He just handily won his Republican primary, and so he's going to cruise to re-election in St. Charles County for a third term. And today is a day where there's a big part of this election process, the post-voting part of the election, for those who are, skeptical about the machines counting the ballots. Well, they're doing a hand counting audit. He's going to tell us all about that. So 8:35, make sure you're checking out that conversation. But one of the things that Kurt posted the other day on social media I guess it was on Tuesday, and then at the same time, Tuesday or Wednesday, Secretary of State Denny Hoskins said that there was a marked increase in the number of people who showed up to vote but didn't want anything to do with the primary elections as far as the parties go. But they wanted the primary election ballot for the amendments. So clearly the amendments were driving people to the ballot. But while you're there, why not pick one of the party ballots and vote there anyway? People made it a point to show up and say, I don't want a Democratic or a Republican ballot. I want only the ballot issues. So they took nonpartisan ballots eschewing the parties. And at both the state level and local level, you saw more of that than anticipated. In fact, in Jackson County, on the other side of the state, the local election authority, they had to rush more nonpartisan ballots to some of the precincts because so many people were taking the nonpartisan one. I think that's fascinating.
It definitely, based on my observations and the circles that I'm in, that definitely feels like they're trying to send some sort of message to the party heads on both sides saying, look, we're tired of this nonsense. We're still showing up to vote, and we're still letting you know we came to support or go against what we believe in, but we're not doing it on your behalf. We're doing it on our behalf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we do know that of the states that where you register with a party, the party affiliations are down.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes that's hard to track. Like, for instance, in Missouri, technically, when you register to vote, you can register Republican, Democrat, Independent. I think you can register with one of the third parties, but it makes no difference. When you show up to vote, they still ask you which party's ballot do you want. So if like, for instance, I'm going to be changing my voter, I'm going to be moving here at some point, and I'm going to have to change my voter registration. So they're going to say, do I want to register as a Republican or a Democrat or Independent or one of the others? I'm independent now. I'm not registered with a party. Now, I took a Republican ballot the other day, but so in Missouri, the numbers can be a little misleading because I think a lot of people, when we changed over to registering with a party, a lot of people don't even realize you can do that in Missouri. So by default, everybody's independent unless they say otherwise. So, but in other states, it's just standard that you pick a party or independent to register with. And a lot of parties, once you pick that, that's the ballot that you get no matter what.
Yeah, so I'm looking up right now. So according to Pew Research Center, they released a study in 2026, so a couple months ago actually. 29% of Americans call themselves or are registered as Democrats. 28% are registered as Republicans. The number one growing affiliation is actually independent.
I believe it.
And the data that I've been seeing shows that I think back like 5 or 6 years ago, you had maybe about 30% of people that were registered as an independent. Now it's 45%.
Yeah, that does not surprise me at all.
So that does not necessarily mean that they're not going to vote for something Democrat or something Republican or a mixture of both. But it's definitely, I mean, I think that's the cultural trend that we're in right now, is that people are just getting tired of feeling like I'm only voting for you because they might be worse or vice versa. And it doesn't feel like you're getting anything different, whoever you're electing.
Now, there's probably, just having some experience in political science, there's going to be a certain percentage of those independents who are generally going to vote one way or the other, Republican or Democrat, no matter what, even though they're registered. But that tells me there's a growing number of people whose votes are up for grab every year.
Yes. But the issue with that, of course, is we only saw like 31% of Missourians show up that are able to vote.
Well, it was in St. Charles County. I think Kurt said 36, but statewide it was about 32, 33.
Yeah, so safe to say about one third
About-
of the
about a
people
third, yeah.
that could vote showed up. But even then, I mean, I think he said like 10% of them were asking for nonpartisan in the
St. Charles County.
Yeah, so I mean, 10% of 1/3 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're actually having to get more ballots out there, how many of the people that did not show up might actually show up the next time around?
Right.
And I mean, I'm not encouraging anybody to, but when 60% of people don't show up, that 60% could have drastically changed the entire outcome of everything.
Without a doubt. And so that's a lot more votes that are in play, because I think a lot of people are increasingly growing frustrated with the parties themselves. Now, that could go either way. There could be, I suspect there are probably people who are saying, I'm done with the Republican Party. They become too centrist and too far to the left. There's others who leave the Republican Party saying they're still too conservative. I'm not sure at the national level you could accuse the Republican Party of being too conservative at the national level. It's conservative at the Missouri level, for sure. The Democrats, same thing. You could have people saying they have gone to the fringe and they're insane, and I can't do that. And there may be some others that say, well, they're just not far enough to the left for me.
Yeah, no, precisely. The new rights was what I'm calling the younger, people my age and younger that are actually starting to vote. The new rights looking at the Republican Party saying, you guys are basically just Democrats at this point. We need somebody that's actually right wing, and the new left is saying you Democrats are basically just Republicans. You're too far right for what we want, and I think it's going to be very interesting in the next few years to see how this plays out.
Political chaos. Yep. All right. Our conversation with Kurt Bahr, really interesting. You're worried about the integrity of the elections, the counting, the hand counting versus the machines tabulating. We asked Kurt Bahr about that about 2.5 hours ago. We're going to revisit that conversation right around 8:35.
And if you're on your way to go somewhere right now, just remember, if you've got a phone, you've got a radio, if you have the free News Talk STL app. So if you haven't already, download that and bring us with you. Then you can hear this conversation even if you're not by your traditional radio.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs towards the upper 80s, an increase in our humidity. A few isolated showers and storms possible later on this afternoon, this evening. For the most part, a lot of us remaining dry into Saturday, 90 degrees, partly sunny skies. It feels like temperature close to 100 degrees. Then into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, continue to remain into the triple digits for the feels like temperatures. Partly sunny skies into Sunday, maybe a spot shower or two possible. For the most part, dry. Monday, going to be mostly sunny. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
Fox News Commentary with Kellyanne Conway. Next.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's NobleGoldInvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Here's Kellyanne Conway.
The Democratic Socialists of America are screaming DSA over USA. And if people actually listen to what they're promising and who they are, their own survey says 85% white, 80% with a college degree. This is not the old Democratic Party. These are folks who were told by the institution, the academic institutions, fork over six figures, get a degree with us. You can support yourself, have home ownership, maybe own a small business, be able to live the American dream, however you define that. And they're disappointed. Their grievances are weird, though, because if you actually listen to what they're promising, I don't think Republicans right now should just say, oh, socialism, socialism. They should explain to people what that means. That means no private ownership. That means health care for all, which sounds great but costs too much. And I actually think letting them talk and explaining who they are and showing who they are is a great benefit to the Republican Party.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top
top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Stop before you dig. Click or call 811. Every dig, every time.
Digging without having your underground utilities marked is like driving with your eyes closed. It's dangerous and irresponsible. Before you break ground, contact Missouri 811 online or by simply calling 811 to request a utility locate 3 working days before starting.
Stop before you dig. Click or call 811. Every dig, every time.
It's the law. Sponsored by Missouri 811.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
Love the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the NewsTalk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere. The 80s. Excellent. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
I've got a confession to make. When you did the theme, you're like, okay, fight songs, comeback songs. This one's so obvious, it did not even cross my mind. I can't even believe I missed this one.
Oh, you can't have fight back songs without Twisted Sister.
I completely overlooked this one as well. All right, 8:37 right now. St. Charles County Director of Elections, Kurt Bahr, was in studio with us just a little bit ago, and I think it's worth revisiting this discussion because a big part of the election, the integrity part of the election, is actually happening today. And if you want to sit in and be there, you can do it. And also, we got into some of those tough questions on what or who is counting the votes and how do we know that they are accurate. And here is what St. Charles County Director of Elections, Kurt Bahr, had to say.
Classic.
See,
1984.
Kurt Bahr with the Director of Elections of St. Charles County. So, it's Flashback Friday. What we do here. It's all 80s bump music that's requested by the audience.
Yeah, when I was in grade school.
You did not have to go there. Gee,
I threw that out there.
I know he's within arms where you could punch him, but it probably wouldn't make for.
Yeah, you're on camera.
We're thinking about back to school, and I'm thinking Blackhurst Elementary School in St. Charles.
And Jerome was asking for what are those comeback songs, those fight songs, because around the state, conservatives took kind of a thumping on some things, without a doubt. So that was a fun one. Here's a fun fact: Patty Smythe was reported to be the first choice for Van Halen after David Lee Roth left the band. Mm-hmm. They wanted her. And she did an interview, said, my husband and I just had a baby. She's like, I can't go, do a world rock tour, And so then,
good choice, Patty.
Then Sammy Hagar ended up becoming the lead singer of Van Halen when Patty Smythe turned it down.
Yeah. I just want to say for the record, I was not in college when this song was out. I was in high school.
There you go. In 84, I would have been in junior high, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
I know. I'm the old one.
Just say All right. Well, we just referenced it. Kurt Bahr for the Director of Elections for St. Charles County. Voter turnout. I'm always kind of amazed by this. You made your prediction of what the turnout was going to be. Secretary of State Danny Hoskins. And you guys are pretty darn accurate on those. They basically came in about a third of the registered voters showed up. And I know there's a lot of people say, you mean 2/3 voters didn't show up? Yes, I lament that. But 32% in a primary election is pretty high, actually.
Statewide, yeah, in St. Charles County was 36%.
36, okay.
Yeah, so the average in St. Charles is 25%. which is a fourth. So a third is a lot better than the fourth when it comes to participation. And it looks like it was those constitutional amendments that drove that extra 10%.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw those predictions because I knew 2022 was a big primary year, and I was surprised when it was predicted to be outstrip that. But I think particularly in St. Charles with the county executive race and then the constitutional amendments, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, because statewide, I mean, we were just talking before you came in about, you put out a post about the nonpartisan ballots that were polled. There was a spike in that. Was almost 1 in 10.
Yeah, 9% in St. Charles County, which normally we see 3, 4, maybe 5% for an August primary where people are selecting the non-party ballot with just the ballot measures. We actually had issues in some counties, not St. Charles, but some counties. They actually were running out of that ballot.
Jackson County, and Secretary of State Denny Hoskins even proactively said basically what you said. We saw a really big increase in those nonpartisan ballots, and that tells me that it was those amendments 4 and 5 that people were making sure they were showing up to vote one way or the other on 4 and 5. But the constitutional amendments themselves, it's like I'm not voting on committee person or state rep primary or whatever it is, but I'm going to vote on 4 or 5.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that's maybe the beginning of a trend? Are we going to see more of this?
That is the question I would love to answer. The answer, I think, is yes, but probably only a little bit. Anecdotally talking to people, they're like, yeah, my kid, they're like, I'm not taking a party's ballot. I only want this. I want that. Typically what we see is voters are thinking if they get the nonpartisan, they'll get both Republican and Democrat because they want to vote for everything like they do in November. And then they realize this isn't the ballot I want. They spoil it, then get one of the party's ballots. That's usually what we see. And so normally when people are pulling nonpartisan ballots, we end up spoiling that, giving them a party ballot. That's the norm. But this time they were asking for the nonpartisan and then voting the nonpartisan. They didn't want to select party.
That's interesting. Okay, so the voting's over, but the election process is not.
Correct.
So you have something going on today, and I saw your post. That's why I wanted to talk to you about this today. So part of this process happening today, and it directly, I think, answers some of the questions. And there was a lot of weird stuff that was out there during the campaigns, the election. But you're doing an audit, and this involves the hand counting. And my understanding is if anybody wants to come and watch this, they can do it in person.
Absolutely. So 9 a.m. today at the Election 30 office, 397 Turner Boulevard, we are having the statutory mandatory hand count audit. So we will take our paper ballots and then we randomize the list of precincts, and then whoever shows up, we'll say, hey, pick a number 1 through 117, the number of precincts we have. And then they'll pick a number, and then that'll correspond to a precinct. And then the state law says we have to, do a congressional race, we have to do the state rep race, we have to do a local judge race, all these different things. And then because it's a primary election, then we'll flip a coin. Now, we're going to do a Republican or Democrat ballot or whatnot. And then, we'll do one of the 4 statewide petitions. And then we will randomly pick these precincts, and then we'll hand count those ballots from that precinct on that race, and then we'll compare that to the election night totals that were reported and show that what we reported election night matches the hand count audit. And this is just a double check to make sure that the machines are properly working. The other thing that we do is we'll take one of our machines and we'll rerun all the ballots in that machine a second time, and then look at today's results from election night's results to show that the machine is counting the same way a second time. And so this is just something that's done in every election in every county. And the Friday after the election is by tradition the day that most clerks throughout the state are doing this process.
Mm-hmm. So what happens if the hand count total comes back different?
So it's not uncommon for the hand count total to come off different a little bit the first time around. And then, the only way to check a hand count is to hand count again. So we'll do it again. And if it's different again, and sometimes that happens, we'll do it a third time. And generally what we've seen is the hand count is wrong. And then by the time they've done it 2 or 3 times, they finally get to a number where the team is like, yep, this is finally the right number. They compare it to what the machine has, and like, oh, lo and behold, the machine was accurate the first time around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one of the things I think a lot of people don't like to hear that. But across the country, when they've run tests on these things, I'm not talking about the electronic voting. I'm talking about tallying physical paper ballots. Because that's the thing people need to understand in Missouri. Paper ballots are the
ballot
law.
Readers.
Yes, they're paper and maybe unless you've got a disability. But we're talking for almost.
Even those machines still produce a paper ballot. So that it depends on which machine you have. In St. Charles County, the one we have looks kind of like a long receipt, but then over in Lincoln County, the one they produce looks more like a normal ballot. Okay. But either way, when you're using those ADA compliant machines, you're still printing a paper ballot, and then that paper ballot's put through the reader just like a hand filled out paper ballot.
But what we found over the years, and I know that there's going to be people who don't want to hear this, the machines tend to be more accurate than the human counting. And I know we don't, I don't like that that's what we found, but that's generally what we found across the country in blue states and in red states and in blue counties and red counties. And but talk about the importance of still having the hand count audit of this, because, obviously, the opponent you just defeated was like all hand counting, all kind of stuff. And I said, yeah, that sounds really, really populist, but it's less accurate.
Exactly. So the process we have where we have the paper ballots that are counted by the machine, which is effective and efficient. And then we follow up with that audit and we say, hey, let's take a look. It's trust but verify even with the election machines. And then if there were a massive disagreement between this hand count today and the machines, well, then there are processes in place to look further into the election to say, is there something else going on with the election? Was there something wrong with that one machine or something else with the election?
So our friend Monty from Rumble says, how do you ensure that the machines are not going to be hacked afterwards? Or how do you find poll workers that you can guarantee are not going to cheat by maybe double scanning a ballot or tampering some other way with that?
So one, this is all done in public. That's why we're inviting people to come and watch the process, so they can see, hey, this person's counting, this person's recording. You can watch them do that, so you know that they're not cheating. We also, everything that we do is bipartisan. So these teams are bipartisan teams, and the idea there is that one team is checking, making sure the other one's not cheating. So we do that, and then the other thing is that we have the tape, the readout from Election Day. So we know kind of like a starting point, this is the number we are expecting to see. And if it's off, well, then we're going to do it again and again, and we're going to figure out why is it off. Is it off because, they were just grossly miscounting or cheating? Was it off because the machine was in fact broken and we have a bad result, or what the case may be? What I have found in the 8 years I've been the election director is when the hand count is off the first time around, it's usually only by a little bit, it's human error. Because people aren't good at repetitive, consistent tasks over and over again. We're more creative than that. And that's why we've created machines to do so many of the repetitive tasks that we need. But we like this ability to be able to test the machines, to test the system, and prove it's accurate, so that we know that, yes, we programmed it correctly. But as far as the hacking, our machines are not connected to the internet in any way. The only way to program the machines is to have physical access, which is why our chain of custody procedures for our machines is so important, which is why we have, a secured area within a secured area to store the machines, which is why, anytime we're in that area, it's a bipartisan team who are programming the machines. And so, we protect the integrity of that process by physical security as much as, just the other processes that we have.
I know personally when I've gone to vote, and I don't know if this is what Monty was asking, but when you actually put the thing into the machine, every time there's been somebody there, they will not touch it. I'm like, okay, here's my ballot. They'll go, okay, well, just put it right in there. And I think that sounds like that is probably a policy thing to where I'm the one putting it in, not them.
Right. Yeah. So election judges are there to assist the voter. They're not there to help the voter vote, right? And so, even if somebody's blind and they don't want to use the machine, they say, no, I want you to read the ballot to me or even record my totals. It has to be done in a bipartisan manner. The two judges checking each other, making sure that we're voting that voter's ballot correctly. But most people will bring an assistant. But our election judges, we don't even really want to look at the ballot to see how you are voting. If there's an error, if a voter overvoted, the machine kicks it out saying, hey, you overvoted. You want a chance to spoil this ballot, vote a new ballot. All we're really trying to see is, what is that error code? Did you kind of jam the paper a little bit? Did you overvote? We will explain that issue to you. Okay, it looks like you overvoted on this amendment. You vote yes and no. You want to spoil that, and so that's all we're trying to do. We don't want to touch anybody's ballot, so that the voters completely independent. The secrecy of their ballot is paramount.
Were there any races in St. Charles that were close enough that there may be an actual recount?
No. we had such wide turnout in all of the elections. There is no within 1% that would necessitate a court issued recount for that reason. And then statewide, the 4 ballot measures were so broad. Now in Jefferson County, there was a 3-way race.
Yeah.
For
we did see that. Yeah.
They all got 33% plus a few.
Yeah.
So that's going to be kind of interesting.
That is going to be interesting.
So when Jefferson County does their hand count audit, they will have to pick that race and hand count one of those races just because it's tight.
Yeah.
Now, whoever came in second can sue for a full recount. I don't know if they will or not, but they have the legal right to do so.
Yeah. Okay, we're a little over time, but last question here. Kurt Bahr, St. Charles County Director of Elections. Then I want to remind people, because you don't have to make a reservation. You can just walk out and show up and watch this process today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Doors are open. It's the same place everybody goes to absentee vote. 397 Turner Boulevard. Starts at 9 a.m. It takes hours, so bring comfy shoes, or and then be prepared to watch. Or you're allowed to leave if you get bored, because it's really not. The only thing more boring than hand counting a paper ballot is watching a team hand count a paper ballot.
You're not going to have like a Twitch stream set up so people can watch?
No.
Okay, so was there anything that you saw in St. Charles County where you say, okay, before November we need to tweak that, or something we need to improve upon, or did things run essentially as they were supposed to?
The process on our end ran really smooth. Where we saw some problems was actually electioneering. I had candidates were putting T-posts through sprinkler systems as polling places, which is obviously problematic. Issues with one candidate's person trying to intimidate another candidate's person, and those types of issues. So the issues that I had to deal with were outside the polling place, not inside the polling place. And so we'll try to work to see if we can, have a little bit better communication with the candidates and their teams of electioneerers, outside to try to have a nicer November election.
A nicer gauntlet as you're walking into it.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Kurt, thanks so much. Appreciate that. I know you got stuff to get to. It's a busy day. The election's not over. The voting's over, but the election's not over here at this point.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
You got it.
I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
Are you struggling with life's pressures? The Flot Line has answers. Join host Rick Hughes for biblical principles and learn how to build a spiritual flot line in your soul. Discover God's plan for your life. Sunday mornings at 9:30 on News Talk STL.
Summer is here at Daniel's Farm and Greenhouses on Juggerman in St. Peters. Discover our breathtaking 55,000 square feet of greenhouses featuring 8,000 hanging baskets, hundreds of perennials, and 100,000 pots of colorful annuals. From vegetable plants to premium grass seed, mulch to herbs, our knowledgeable staff is ready to answer all your questions. Start spring off right with pansies, potted tulips, and everything your garden craves. Daniel's Farm and Greenhouses. Visit us today on Juggerman or online at danielsfarmandgreenhouses.com.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Well, if I get this, the Trooper, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the Trooper, yeah. Classic Iron Maiden.
One of the only Iron Maiden songs I actually like, to be honest.
Really? Yeah. I thought you would have been more of an Iron Maiden guy.
No, I mean, I respect what they do, and they're definitely good. It's just, this is one of those that get the blood flowing, you know?
Yeah. As far as those fight songs, comeback songs, and the video of this is like all old school warfare, like footage.
The horse cavalry going out there,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Bruce Dickinson's a fascinating guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, probably genius IQ level. You look at his other things he's done, advanced degree. I mean, it is, the Trooper. So how many other, come on, let's be honest. How many conservative morning shows are playing Iron Maiden?
I was going to say, we've played some Motorhead in the past. I mean, we played Devo. We played like
Rammstein.
Who else out there is doing that?
Nobody.
Just us.
That's right. Okay, we got, a few minutes left here? Okay, so U-City's government is under a cyber attack, or they were. We'll tell you about that. And will Anthony Fauci face any criminal prosecution? Well, that's in the hands of the DOJ. Let's sneak in one final news dump of the week.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by Great American Divers. The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
Okay, also, quick note, 1 week from today, next Friday, we are doing the show from Mario's Donuts on Mugie Road in St. Peters.
And by that, he means he and Susie.
That's right. You'll still be part of the show. We'll bring you back some donuts.
Okay, then I won't hold against you.
But we are there 5:30 to 9. I'll actually be there earlier, but we're going to be at Mario's next Friday. So come on out and join us for the show here. All right, University City's government weathers a long-running cyber attack. City officials say the attack started on June 19th, and it targeted their online bill payment process and some online services, things like access to records you need to look up, maybe some things for permitting. In a statement to the media, City Manager Brooke Sharp says no personal information was compromised during the attack, although it did disrupt some city services at times, as you would suspect. They referred to it as being contained, is what they called that. No word yet on who is responsible for that.
Hopefully it wasn't OpenAI again.
They have no idea. I mean, law enforcement's been involved in this, and they're trying to look into it. But good on you, city's government. If they're clearly their IT stuff was set up solid enough. I mean, if it turns out that there really was no compromised data, then that's remarkable to come under that long of an attack and still defend the critical stuff.
And I know it's a pain in the neck, but every time you hear something like this, it might be a good time to reevaluate your passwords.
Oh yeah, yep. All right, the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, as you know, voted on Thursday along party lines to hold Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress for the way that he invoked the Fifth Amendment, and he refused to answer questions at a hearing this past week. Chairman of the committee is Senator Rand Paul, and he says it's actually not about Fauci's actions necessarily during the COVID-19 era.
We are voting on whether a witness who has received the benefit of a sweeping federal pardon can be ordered by this committee to answer questions and then defy that order without consequence.
And Democrats are saying, among other things, well, now that there's so many different states trying to prosecute Anthony Fauci, well, this is why he did the Fifth Amendment, and so we'll see what the DOJ does. It was referred to the DOJ. It's up to them to prosecute or to not prosecute. A statement from Senator Mitch McConnell's office says that the 84-year-old was released from the hospital and is now doing a physical therapy regimen at home, or released from a rehabilitation center. His office says he suffered a fall in mid-June. We found out about it in July, and then he developed pneumonia while in the hospital. At least that's according to the statement from the office. He is not running for re-election. Okay, Cardinals back at home tonight. They were on the road for a couple of series. Now they started one at Busch Stadium against the Rockies. First pitch for this one is going to be 7:05. This is one of those games that's going to be on free broadcast TV. So our friends at KMOV have that story. Coverage starts right around 6:30.
Your trees do a lot for you.